Good morning, everybody. Good morning, junkies. What's up? Dan Kasper Show is on the air. Radio dials, got a couple of those. 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online at sportstalk1051.com. You can stream it there. You can get the link to the YouTube video stream or check it out on Facebook and Twitter. Got your Sports Talk app and, of course, the Google and Alexa home devices, TGIF. Am I right? But good morning to everybody, and thank you for making us a part of your start to this morning. Whether you're getting ready for work or maybe you're getting ready to hit up the cabin, getting ready to head to the land, do a little deer hunting this weekend or for the next 9 days. Best of luck. Don't forget, if you have any luck or if you have any, just cool photos, snap those photos and send them to us so we can put them up on the Tilden Gun trophy board on our website, okay? So, but what do we got on the game plan here this morning? Well, I think you all know where we're going to lead off things here in just a little bit on the opening drive. Packers falling to the Titans 27-17 last night, and perhaps maybe putting a nail in the coffin on their season. Packers now dropping to 4-7. Where do we want to begin on this thing? We got hey, they did a good job of slowing down Derrick Henry, but they made Ryan Tannehill look like an all-pro quarterback last night, too. 22 of 27 for 333. 2 touchdowns. Did have that interception to Rasul Douglas there, but yikes. After that, Aaron Rodgers, 24-39, 2 touchdown passes, 227 yards, 2 touchdown passes to Christian Watson. Aaron Jones, just 12 carries for only 40 yards. Missing some throws down the stretch there, too. So, yikes. Not great. Burks, the rookie, 7 catches for 111 yards for Tennessee. Man. But where do you want to lead off on this thing? Talk a little offense? Talk a little defense on this thing? All phases, right? We'll go through some of the comments from Matt LaFleur after the game. But not a good performance, obviously, last night from the green and gold. I don't know. It just felt like from a guy on the outside looking in, it just felt like felt like a lackluster performance. I mean, for every ounce, like I was talking to somebody last night, and like they said, it's like for every ounce of what they showed on Sunday against the Cowboys, sure didn't feel like they had that mentality, mostly on offense, last night. Defensive front did a good job slowing down Derrick Henry, but I don't know what is going on in that secondary, y'all. I don't know. I mean, you've got a lot of money invested in that secondary with Jair. You re-signed Rasul Douglas. You've got Adrian Amos. I mean, when it's like 3rd and 9 and you're allowing them to pick it up, what's the amount of money that you've invested in that secondary? And Ryan Tannehill is the quarterback, and Robert Woods and a rookie in Burks are dominating it. That's inexcusable. Now, I don't know if it's the players. I don't know if it's the coaching. But I'll tell you one thing that's kind of getting frustrating to watch is whenever a big pass play is given up, you got a Packers defender turning around with their arms up like looking around like they're confused. Like, what's going on? Who were you? Now, I don't know if that's miscommunication in the back end. I don't know if it's, again, do you point the finger at the Joe Barry, the defensive coordinator? Do you point the finger at Jerry Gray, defensive backs coach? Do you point the finger at the players? It's just they look confused back there, and it's frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating. when you see teams on defense, you get them in those 3rd and 9 situations, 3rd and 8, and you just allow a big enough cushion, and you make Ryan Tannehill look like an all-pro freaking back there. He was in a groove. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. And then, you got Green Bay's offense. I mean, Aaron missing some throws. You had Lazard, dropping a ball here and there, but yikes. It just looked like, got to give credit to Mike Vrabel. Tennessee came in all banged up. They were banged up. They had some injuries. But Mike Vrabel is a hell of a coach. A hell of a coach, because he had that team. He had Tennessee last night ready to go on all phases. We were talking about it yesterday. I wanted to see this Packer team match up physicality. I mean, we knew Tennessee was going to be a physical team, and they didn't do that. And that's a credit to Mike Vrabel. That's a credit to that coaching staff for Tennessee. They had their team ready to go in Lambeau and ready to win. And Green Bay just didn't look. One thing I was worried about, were they going to have a little bit of a hangover from that Cowboys game? I don't know if that was a root of it, but what a frustrating win, or frustrating loss. So we'll deep dive into it here a little bit more coming up on the opening drive. Bucks are back in action tonight too, so we'll hit that up. They're going to be taking on the Philadelphia 76ers tonight. Shout out to Eau Claire Regis, state champions for high school football, dominating fashion yesterday morning. Mondovi falling to Stratford, but still congrats to Mondovi for a runner-up finish. So shout out to those two programs. We'll catch up on some of the other local stuff going on with Mr. Brandenburg coming up just past 7 o'clock here this morning, as I think we're fully into shifting gears to the winter prep season, but we'll recap and some other stuff kind of finishing up here and looking ahead to some of the winter season sports going on. So Brandon will be coming on after Dr. Crow inside the training room. We'll get a quick chat in with Dr. Crow this morning, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. That'll be about 7:05. We'll talk some college football. Badgers taking on Nebraska. Second to last game here. More Badgers decommitting now too. More Badgers reopening their commitments with some uncertainty surrounding the program of like who the head coach is going to be. And Jim Leonard, we talked about his comments a little bit earlier with with not naming a head coach and players potentially transferring, that sort of thing. Kind of sounded off again yesterday or the other day and said, yeah, I'm not in control of the timeline right now, so I have to do everything I can to keep the program going in the right direction and have the communication with our players and recruits and families and just try to win games at this point. The longer it takes, the harder it becomes to ask for that patience. And everyone involved, I think, knows that. So, yeah. Can tell a little frustration from interim head coach Jimmy Leonard. And he's in a tough spot. He's got to go out there and win some games to try to win that job. But at the same time, he's the one that's got to try to keep these recruits from not decommitting, from not transferring, from not going to other programs that could affect his job in the next couple of years. He's in a tough spot right now. We'll talk a little Badgers a little bit later on here this morning, taking a look at the slate of games for the college football world as we're getting ready to wrap up the regular season here. You got Illinois versus Michigan. Michigan got to get that dub to set up well to set up that matchup with Ohio State next week. That should be epic as long as Ohio State takes care of business at Maryland. But when you're looking at the rest of the schedule here, TCU is going up against Baylor. What else do we got on the docket? Georgia, Kentucky, unranked though. Other than that, okay, Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. But yeah, we'll kind of take a look at some of the other games going on. So we got that. We will do a little shootouts. We'll get to some picks and predictions. Got a little cream of the crop. We'll announce the Carpet City Flooring Center athlete spotlight for this week, and well, deer hunting this weekend too. So, anybody, best of luck. Last call if you are going to be. What's the game plan? You got any traditions? You got any good stories? Any like back in your memory banks? If you got any good stories from all of your opening days or your hunting seasons, send those over. We'll have a little virtual campfire and that sort of thing, if you know what I mean. So we'll share some good stories. Got to try to keep something positive here. We got opening day tomorrow. I know Packers losing last night puts a damper on some of the things and that sort of stuff, but we'll try to keep her positive. We'll try to keep her moving here a little bit. So, but let's get things rolling on that opening drive. Oh, and I want to talk a little baseball too with Brandon with the Brewers. Get his thoughts on the 40-man roster and there was a report yesterday by John Morosi that the Mariners have inquired about Colton Wong with the Brewers. So we'll see if anything transpires from that move. But I want to touch on a little bit on baseball too with Brandon, get his thoughts on that 40-man roster and such. So, but hey, let's get things going here this morning. All right, let's talk some Packers. Recapping last night's offense issues, missing some throws, dropping some passes. Defense, they did a good job stopping the run. You would think Jair and Rasul in the secondary would be able to take care of business, but for whatever reason, that wasn't the case last night. Blocked field or extra point. Golly. Let's get out our frustration so we don't carry it into the stands this weekend. All right, quick break. We'll open up things here this morning talking a little football, talking a little Packers Titans, recapping another loss for the Packers, dropping to 4-7. Does that put the nail in the coffin this year for you? Big thanks to Hy-Vee last night for hosting the launch party for Man Cave Lights. Doing the launch there, doing the Dan Goodburger special as well, and huge thanks for everybody for stopping by and partaking, and even grabbing some six packs to go, some big six packs there too. So, G-Man, big thanks to him. C-Bomb coming in late. Travis, the Honorable Travis from A-Town, stopping by too. Griff, Philly fan Dave, Surveyor Sam. I'm probably missing a bunch. Beerman Josh, I'm missing a bunch of you right now, but big thanks for everybody for stopping by for the launch of Man Cave Light. So if you haven't had a chance to try it, it's available at Wahlburgers over there at Hy-Vee, and you can even get it to go. They'll put it in the crawler for you, and take it to deer camp this week if you're looking to, if you got to do a little beer run or something like that for deer camp. So head on over there and get a few. Like G-Man got the big old six packs. Even Travis from A-Town and a few others got those big old six packs of the crawlers there too. So, but fun night last night. Wish the game would have turned out better, but nonetheless, big thanks for all the supports last night from everybody. It was awesome getting to see everybody and chatting with you all too for a little bit. So, Seba coming in hot right away this morning about the Badgers too. Everything Barry Alvarez did to build this program. Chris McIntosh is destroying it. Jim Leonard is not only a fan favorite, but a phenomenal coach. What the hell are the Badgers waiting for? The way this is being handled is a fireable offense for McIntosh. So, we'll get your thoughts. The rest of you chime in on that too. Let's get some more comments on that. With the whole Badger ordeal there. Before we get to some Badgers, though, let's recap this loss by the Packers. If you had to pick one thing that frustrated you the most last night, what would it have been? Would it have been, the offense, whether it was, a drop pass or Aaron Rodgers missing some throws last night, or was it the pass defense? What was it? If you had to rank it, or if there was one thing that just really grinded your gears last night, it's just like, what the heck are we doing? What is going on here? If you had to pick one, I'm going to hold it to just one. Okay, what was the one that really bugged you the most? I've got mine, but before we get to it, just a few comments last night from the post game pressers last night. Matt LaFleur, and I don't even know what to say. It was nothing like a few days ago. We're not in a very good position right now, that's for sure. Like I told the guys, there's no margin for error, period. Aaron saying, I got to throw the ball better than I did tonight. If we play up to our potential, we can win our last 6 games. But he also said that he's included in on that too. He was asked about the crowd booing the team off the field, and he paused for a little bit and just said, interesting. That's pretty much, and that was it. That's all he had to say about it. So take that for what it's worth. But I mean, can you blame some of the fans there? I know that's like a hot button topic. It seems like the last few years too, about kind of like a little back and forth. Some fans just are not into the booing. Some will display or I should say voice their displeasure. I just think everybody's frustrated at this point. Everybody's frustrated. Players, coaches, fans. It's just a big old what the heck is going on? What are we witnessing here? The one thing that just kind of bugs me a little bit, or I shouldn't say a little bit, it really bugs me, is, we talked about it yesterday. Stack that box, put your guys in there, trust your corners of Jair and Rasul to be out on an island, to be aggressive. To go out there and be aggressive. And the Packers front did a good job of slowing down Derrick Henry. Kept him under our 100 yards. But for whatever reason, the pass defense stunk. I mean, Tannehill, 22 of 27 for over 300, 2 touchdowns. And I know that last pass around the 2-minute warning propelled him over 300 yards there. But he just looked comfortable over there. Yeah, he got sacked 3 times, threw that pick, but overall, he felt like he was comfortable. And the thing that bugs me is when the Packers defense was getting them in third downs. Like 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s. They were picking them up. And it's like, why? How? What are we doing here? You have a chance to get off the field. What are we doing here? And I don't like to be over dramatic on a lot of stuff. I don't like to, I don't know, I just don't like to freak out too much, I guess, but they got to take a hard look at what the heck is going on with this, whether it's the coaching, whether it's the players. But I'm tired of, secondary players, like after giving up a pass, they're turning around with their arms up. I mean, how many times last night did we see 2 defenders go with one guy and one guy gets released wide open? Or the soft cushion. And then they turn around expecting like somebody else to be there or some crap like that. Is that coaching? Is it the players? Is it a little bit of both? Is it more one thing than the other? I don't know. But for the amount of money and the amount of resources that this team over the last few years has put into that defense, specifically the secondary, when you make Jair the highest paid corner, you re-sign Rasul Douglas to a decent-sized contract, you draft Eric Stokes in the first round, you sign Adrian Amos to a pretty darn good deal. You also drafted Darnell Savage in the first round. The secondary should be the strength of this team on that defense. And we can look at great passing yards, giving up. What? That's why stats don't tell the whole story and rankings don't tell the whole story. When they put those graphics up before the game, it says, oh, Packers are number 3 in passing defense. It's all based on the yards that they've given up. It doesn't tell you what actually happens in those games. But the thing, I don't know. It doesn't feel like they're as aggressive as they should be on the defensive front. Just my opinion. I could be completely off on it. It just feels like they're not as aggressive. Like they're almost a little bit too apprehensive and giving up big plays. Well, you know what? Great. You're worried about giving up big plays. But here's the thing. Your defense is staying on the field for a long time. And you're still giving up touchdowns or points. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get into a defensive coordinator change or anything like that. But I was thinking about this last night. Like if it's going to come down to that, where Matt LaFleur is going to be on his 3rd defensive coordinator since taking a job, it almost reminds you a little bit of that trend. Remember Sean Payton after the whole Greg Williams ordeal? Sean Payton went through a couple of defensive coordinators before finally settling on Dennis Allen. He had Steve Spagnuolo for 1 year, had Rob Ryan for a couple years. Their defenses stunk. Brings in Dennis Allen. And, towards the end there, finally paid off. Dennis Allen's the head coach now for the Saints. But I was thinking about that last night. It's like, is this going to be like what the Saints and Sean Payton did for those few years, where they're going to go through a little bit of a trend, like trying to, I don't know. But I'll tell you one name I would absolutely love if we're going to play this game. if we're going to play this game about bringing in a new defensive coordinator out there, number one, and it's not even close, Vic Fangio. Not even close to anybody else who could potentially be out there or that. It's Vic Fangio. Proven system that consistently works. He is the definition of I know he got fired as head coach for the Denver Broncos, but he is the definition of a better coordinator than what he is as a head coach. Consistently solid wherever he goes. Because I know, what was it, a couple weeks ago, Packers fans were saying, Mike Zimmer, Mike Zimmer. Well, the thing is with Mike Zimmer, that one might take a couple years. Because you're going to have to change up everything. Back to a 4-3 and, maybe different players and kind of rebuild the whole thing. Give me Vic Fangio. If we're playing this game right now. Because I feel like, a lot of fans want to see that change. Definitely want to see that change. And offense, yeah, we got our issues there too. We got our issues. We've got Alan Lazard not having the greatest games. Aaron Rodgers missing open wide receivers last night. I mean, what are we doing here? And then when the defense makes that big stop before the half on fourth down, you can't go 3 and out in that situation. You can't do that. You go 3 and out, and Pat O'Donnell's backed up at the back end of his end zone, and you give him a short field, and what do? They go all the way down there again. That's just, what are we doing here? Know the situation. We knew it was going to be tough to run the football, but it felt like there were a lot of plays in that passing game that were left on the field. Open guys, drop balls. It felt like there was some plays that were just absolutely missed. That maybe could have changed course of the game a little bit. Who knows, right? We don't know for sure. Butterfly effect. But they just got, out. Tennessee, we knew was going to be physical. They take the mindset of their head coach, Mike Vrabel. Didn't matter that they were banged up. Didn't matter that they were missing some players. They just whooped Green Bay's butt on every phase. Every single phase. And they take the, Mike Vrabel is a hell of a coach. I know last year there was some people kind of talking, and I was one of them. I'll tell you, I was one of them that was like, Vrabel got Coach of the Year over Matt LaFleur. What are we doing? Blah, blah. Mike Vrabel's a hell of a coach. And his guys buy into it. Your thoughts? Losing my voice again. So you can hit me up with a text on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Or hit me up on Twitter at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports, or you can also comment on the video feed if you'd rather go about that too. So tell you what, we got to take a quick break here. We'll get back to some of your thoughts on the game from last night. I want to get to some Badgers chat as well. So, all right, regroup it. Quick timeout. We'll be back after these words. Colder temps and a little bit of snow. Good reminder when we get to that, when we get a little bit more snow, or a lot more snow, I should say. Always stay in tune to our website, sportstalk1051.com, for the latest school closings and delays. Brought to you by Hovland's and our good friends over at Service Master of Chippewa Valley. Clay, we're going to have to get together for some coffee or something like that. So, but keep that in the back of your mind, all right? Especially if you got those little ones with those kiddos. That's something now I'm going to have to pay attention to here, too. So Morgan does a fantastic job keeping everything updated on all of our websites there for all the latest school closings and delays. Just found out, too, for Man Cave of Lights, we went through a keg in just a couple of hours last night. So big thanks to everybody who showed up, and plus at least like 30 burger combos before halftime. So awesome. Thank you, everybody, for that. Let's take a quick phone call here this morning. Morning, C-Bomb. How you doing, brother?
Well, good morning, El Capitano. It's a grim morning for me this Friday morning. I'll tell you what, it was good to see you and some of the boys last night after bowling, but I'll tell you what, it was not good watching that. I got to watch it. I don't want you to have to bleep me off the air here. Boy, oh boy, a defense that we went in saying we have to stop Derrick Henry. If you would have told me we held Derrick Henry under 100 yards rushing, I would have said we won the game by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But no, they give up 408 stinking yards to Ryan Tannehill. If I can't – how many times does Joe Barry need to have this team on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, and they play their guys 2 yards off of what is needed to be picked up? They're giving up 3rd and 6, they play 8 yards off. 3rd and 10, they'll play 12 yards off. It's a joke. That guy's got to go. It's not working. The scheme is terrible. We pay too much money for those players on that defense to not unleash them. It's just frustrating as all get out.
I don't understand it. So, I mean, unless somebody can kind of explain it to where I agree with you, like, you've invested so much in that secondary, draft picks and money, right? And then I just want them to be aggressive. I want them to go up there and show their skills. Unless I'm missing something, they almost feel like they're afraid to give up the big play. You know what I mean, C-Bomb? Like, they're afraid to give up that big play. But it don't matter if you're going to continue to let teams have these long drives and still end up scoring anyways.
Exactly. It's frustrating. I don't get it. And like you, Dan, I'd like to have somebody explain it to me in terms that I can understand, because they play soft as hell. They don't want to give up the big play. And then at the end of the game, you got a rookie, Traylon Burks, burning our best corner for 50 yards. What in the heck is going on with this team? The team has no identity. They have no swag. They don't have it. Yeah. And it's frustrating as hell. You watch Tennessee go out there and they live off Vrabel. That team, they came ready to play and they whooped our ass. Plain and simple. That's all there is to it. And it's frustrating, man. I mean, gosh, I know what it's like to be a Vikings fan now. This is horrible. And we don't see this a lot in Green Bay. I still think they're close, but boy, they got to make some changes. And Jolene Berry's got to go, man.
Yeah, and for all the expectations and the excitement that we had for this defense coming into the season, and I don't want to scapegoat the offense or anything like that either, but would you say that's been the most disappointing part of the season, has been the up and down performance of this defense?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a big part of it. And I knew in the beginning of the game we were going to be in trouble because our defense was on the field a long time. And I don't think it's necessarily because they're not making plays. Because Joe Barry, he's playing so soft, it's ridiculous, And the thing with the offense, Aaron's as much to blame as anybody. He missed Lazard open over the middle. He was missing on throws that normally he makes blindfolded or left-handed. And I don't know if that thumb is really messing him up more, but with the lack of playmakers on this offense and the contract that Aaron Rodgers has, he's expected to make every one of those damn throws, and he's not even close on some of them.
I know. That was kind of mind-boggling last night to see how wide open he was missing those guys.
Dan, you or I could have completed a couple of those over the middle, and that's not a joke. I mean, I don't get it, and they're just off. They're off, and I was holding out hope if we could beat Tennessee, hey, we might be able to turn this thing around. But good Lord, I'm nervous to see what the Eagles do.
Yeah, you're telling me, man. But it just felt like they left a lot of plays out on the field for that offense last night. And I'm glad, the one positive might have been Christian Watson again last night on offense.
Yeah, he's starting to come into his own a little bit because that first touchdown, he went up and made a play, and that was fun to see.
Mm-hmm.
There's some small good things to take out of that game, very few of them, but overall, it's more. I'm more disappointed, not just in the record, but more disappointed in the lack of fire with this team and zero identity. I mean, I can't recall a team ever 10 games into the season that had no identity. What is our identity? Running the ball, throwing the ball, soft defense? I don't know. What would you say the identity of this team is?
Inconsistency. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, we can make up stuff that are negative, but in a positive light, I have no idea. None.
And that's the thing that's so frustrating is, okay, so yeah, you just said it, 10 games into the season and inconsistencies are identity. Even a team that's got a poor record like Detroit, they're in their games and they're playing hard. They are grinding, and it's like they go for it. Their offense, they try and push the ball downfield. They try to make plays. We just kind of dink and dunk, and if Aaron Jones wasn't an absolute stud, that we'd be in a lot of trouble. And yeah, I've said it a million times. It's frustrating, but I don't know. What is your take? What is your hope for the rest of the season? Because there's a tiny, faint little heartbeat. If they can run the table, they can still get in the playoffs. But good gravy, I don't see that happening. But yeah. What do you want to see out of this team the rest of the season?
Outside of that, I mean, I just want to see fight. I want to see fight. I want to see, I don't want them to lay down. I know people are going to start talking about top 10 draft picks and, play for that. But how many times have we seen, those aren't locks, right? I mean, those picks aren't locks. I mean, people are criticizing Goody's drafts already. So what makes you think that you would actually hit on a top 10 pick for crying out loud if you're one of those that are criticizing his picks? So I just want to see fight. I want to see some pride. You know what I mean? I want to see some pride in this thing and going out and battling, and it's just there's a lot of finger pointing, there's a lot of frustration. I want to see some pride and some fight with this team and going down swinging. And that last night, they just got out physical, and I don't want to see that. I hate seeing that stuff. I hate it.
Yeah, you and me both, brother. And you said it, hit a nail on the head. Out physical. And it isn't even close. I mean, this team, Preston Smith balled out last night.
He
on
did.
His birthday, by the way.
Yep.
And outside of him, I mean, we don't have any dogs. We don't have people that just want to go get it. What I thought Kenny Clark was, he definitely isn't. He made a couple plays last night too, but there's just, we don't have that dog mentality, and it really stinks because this team's still talented, and you can't tell me Devontae Adams is worth 7 losses losing him. So it's just, I don't know what's broke, but it's got to be fixed. And good Lord, the rest of this season, this team could go one of two ways here. I mean, we're bad right now, and our salary cap situation is absolutely horrible. Rodgers didn't want to be part of no rebuild, but I don't know what the future of this team looks like. And it's crazy what can happen in 4 days. From Dallas and all the optimism to a butt whooping from Tennessee and thinking about what the future of this team's going to look like.
I agree, man. I agree. Hey, before I let you go, though, you were pretty animated with that Badger text there, man.
Yeah, when I was a kid, so I'm going to date myself a little bit, Badgers were horrible, man. I remember in '86, I went to a game with my first Badger game. I was 10 years old. With a buddy of mine, or was it 85? It was 85. It was his 10th birthday, and we beat Ohio State, and we got to go out on the field. And the college kids all ripped down the goalposts. It was amazing because the team was terrible. Barry Alvarez built that program, and this team is awesome. I mean, they're one of the top programs in college football. and McIntosh is destroying it all in such a short period of time. And you have Jim Leonard, who has not, it's not a name. He's not Jeff Saturday. He earned his spot as a coach. He came in as a defensive coordinator and lit the world on fire. The other teams, SEC schools want to talk to him. What in the hell is McIntosh waiting for? Hire him. Mm-hmm. You're killing your program by all this uncertainty. Right now, all these other teams are calling Braylon Allen, trying to swoop in and get guys to transfer because they know that these kids don't know what their future is. It's like, hey, why don't you come over to Alabama or come to Clemson?
Yeah.
So hire him. What is it? The team wants him. He's a great coach. And if he doesn't work out, you fire him. For crying out loud, you had Gary Anderson, for crying out loud. I mean, he's going to do better than that. So I don't know. I don't get it. Tell me I'm wrong. I'd like somebody to tell me that's incorrect thought process.
No, I mean, I think you got to look at it. You got kids that are, and I don't fault the kids because, they want certainty. They want to know. They want to go into a situation that they're comfortable with, and they don't like the uncertainty. So I can't fault them too much.
Nope. I don't get it. McIntosh is being an idiot. If I was Jim Leonard, I'd give him the big middle finger when he says it's your job. I'd say, nope, you know what? I'm going to go somewhere else. I probably wouldn't. I mean, it's a dream job for him, but still, it's crap. I mean, why? What does he have? What does he need to do to prove that he's better than somebody else out there?
Right.
Who else are they going to go after that's going to be a better hire than Jim Leonard right now? Can you think of any?
I think the Lance Leipold luster maybe kind of has fallen off a little bit, but you hire a guy like Jimmy Leonard, a youngster, I feel like you're going to have him around for a while. You know what I mean? Like that's his job, and he's going to stick around for a while. And I don't see him as a guy that would move on to a quote bigger program.
No, he's everything you want. He's a Wisconsin boy, born and raised, walked onto the Badgers, became an All-American, played in the NFL, became a hell of a head coach, gets hired by his alma mater. He's not going nowhere. You're going to be able to pay him less than, I don't know. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. It's his dream job, and he's a great coach. It would be something, like I said, it's not a Jeff Saturday deal. He's earned a shot, and I don't see why they're waiting. It's really stupid. There's a lot of questions I have that I'd like to get answers from somebody who are making these decisions. Wisconsin sports can be so frustrating, can't they?
It can be, but at least we got the Bucks right now. So.
Yeah, I'm not even a basketball guy. I'm going to have to start cheering for basketball because at least they want a winning program.
Hey, I love the fired upness, C-Bomb. You have a fantastic weekend, buddy, okay? And a big thanks for stopping by last night.
Hey, it was great to see you. Congratulations on the Man Cave Light. And to all you hunters out there, good luck in the woods and be safe. And I'm still going to say, go Pack, go El Capitano. Thanks for having me, brother.
Love it, man. There you go. There's C-Bomb hopping off here this morning. So good stuff there from C-Bomb. How about the rest of you? You can hit us up with a tweet at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports. Your thoughts on the Packers and, well, Badgers too. We got more players that are entering, well, or I should say decommitting, opening up their recruiting process again because of the uncertainty surrounding the head coaching position for the Badgers. So are you getting frustrated like C-Bomb is with Chris McIntosh not, posting the job and just giving the job to Jimmy Leonard right now? Your thoughts? We'll hit that up coming up in the next hour. And what is the thing that is bugging you the most, or not bugging you? What's grinding you the most, or what upset you the most about the game last night? Was it the offense missing some throws, dropping some passes? Was it the pass defense of the Packers? That I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Is it the players? Is it the coach staff? Is it the scheme? Is it a little bit of both here and there, and you just mix them in a bowl and it's one big thing? What are your thoughts on the situation? I'll be curious to get some of your responses over there. Coming up next hour, we'll kick it off catching up with our good friend, Dr. Austin Crow, Triple Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for our Inside the Training Room segment, as we usually do every Friday morning. Then right after that, we'll catch up with our good friend, Brandon Berg, sports editor extraordinaire, again, Regis coming away with the state championship in football. Mondovi finishing up as a runner-up. So we'll recap some of the fall sports and then get an early look on what's going on with the winter season, including Blue Golds over there too. So we'll catch up with Brandon. I want to touch a little bit on baseball with Brandon as well, get his thoughts on the initial 40-man roster from the Brewers. And then the rumor apparently that the Mariners have called up the Brewers about Colton Wong. So I do want to touch a little bit on the Brewers too. Plus, we've got the Bucks back in action tonight, taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Bucks looking they're going to be on the road tonight before returning home for 3 games next week. So tip off tonight, slated to start at 6:30, although we know it's going to be a little bit after that, so you'll be able to catch the game on the radio dials here, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Joel Embiid coming off that monster performance the other night against the Utah Jazz. We'll see if the Bucks maybe get some players back that are banged up. We'll see, but I don't know. So we'll talk a little bit of Bucks basketball a little bit later on. We've got picks and predictions coming up past 8 o'clock. We'll do a little shootout. We've got cream of the crop. And then we'll announce the Carpet City Flooring Center athlete spotlight. I should say sports spotlight. Coming up. We'll probably do that in the 7 o'clock hour too. We'll hit that up as well. So, Hunters, are you getting ready? Are you heading maybe out, heading up to the cabin now? What's the game plan for you all tonight? Share some stories with us. Pass it on. So, shot clock's going to cut me off here in just a few seconds. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll start off the 7 o'clock hour catching up with Dr. Crow inside the trading room, Triple Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, recapping some of those injuries going on here. 1 in, 2 more to go. Stick around. We'll be back in just a couple minutes to kick off the second hour of the Dan Kasper Show. TGIF, everybody. Second hour kicking off on this Friday before opener. Appreciate you all tuning in wherever and however you may be tuning in. We're going to catch up with our good buddy, Mr. Brandon Berg, here in just a little bit. We'll get back to some of your thoughts, texts, tweets, Facebook, YouTube comments, all that good stuff. We kick off this hour, though, as we usually do every Friday, catching up with the good doctor, Dr. Austin Crow, Triple Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for a little inside the training room. You ready for the opener tomorrow, Austin? Ready to go?
Absolutely. Yep.
Did you have any luck? Did you go hunting last weekend that you were kind of talking about?
Yeah. I went, excuse me. I went on a pheasant hunting trip. We had an excellent time out there. Filled our limit every day, so it was a great trip.
Nice. Well, best of luck and be safe this weekend too.
Yeah, to everybody.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, I want to start off Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp, he suffered a high ankle sprain, but he's actually having surgery on that. And I feel like we've been talking a lot about high ankle sprains as of late, but this is one of the first ones where we're actually, we're seeing a guy that's going to have surgery with it. And I believe it was a couple weeks ago too. He actually suffered an ankle injury. So I guess a two-part question. One, do you think that previous ankle injury kind of led to this high ankle sprain? And can you kind of just explain what the surgical procedure is for a high ankle sprain?
Yeah, so just to kind of start basic anatomy, so the high ankle is the connection between the tibia and the fibula. So basically the two shin bones as they come together to make the top part of the ankle. And so when people have a standard ankle sprain, you roll the ankle and the ligaments on the side are injured. Now the high ankle, again, is the ligaments that hold those top two bones together. So they tend to be much more severe injury because it just tends to be more destabilizing for the ankle. Often when an athlete has an ankle sprain, there's a partial injury, meaning there's some of the ligament fibers intact. And as long as there's some fibers intact, you can often try conservative treatment, meaning brace, crutches, slowly get them back. But if it's severe enough, meaning it actually pops all the way open, then you have to do surgery. In the last 5 years or so, we've started to see this trend where in elite athletes, even if it's not a full tear, they're getting that. They call it the tightrope procedure. It's interesting because it's a brand name. So one of the orthopedic companies called Arthrex has a device called the tightrope. Every company has one, but that one for some reason has caught on. So that tightrope procedure, what you do is you basically drill two little holes across the bones, and then there's little metal buttons on each side, and there's a very strong suture between it, and you just tighten it down. And so that basically compresses that tibia and the fibula joint back together and holds it in place. So it's like an internal brace. And so is it a necessary surgery? I think in the sense of getting these athletes back faster. But we use it sometimes if it's fully blown, it's a must. So like if any time that you've fully torn those ligaments, the bones literally split apart. So sometimes we'll get an x-ray and look in the ankle. Athletes a lot of times are getting them for where it's more of a high grade injury. And really what the idea is you're getting them back faster. And I think just last week, maybe, or 2 weeks ago, we had discussed how a couple athletes the last couple of years have had it and been able to get back to sports pretty quickly. So like Tua had it before the national championship 1 week before and was able to play. So his was probably a little more on the mild side. It sounds like they put Cooper on the IR, so they're going to be out at least 4 weeks. So his probably was a little more severe. But yeah, that we see that. But basically, once it holds it together, you're just waiting for those ligaments to heal back in place, and then the athlete's back and hopefully rocking and rolling at 100%.
Now, this might be a stupid question, but with high ankle sprain that requires surgery, does the athlete suffer it in like a different way? Like, is it more of an impact type injury? Because when I think of sprained ankles, you twist it playing basketball or something like that. But when it comes to a high ankle sprain, is it suffered differently? Do you know what I'm trying to ask there? Is it like an impact type of injury or not really?
Yeah, good question. They are different mechanisms. So the classic lateral ankle sprain is where you roll the ankle, right? So you see, an athlete steps, like a basketball player jumps up for a rebound and then steps on someone's foot and the ankle rolls out. We call it an inversion injury. So the foot and the ankle invert in and it tears those lateral ligaments. A high ankle sprain is more rotational. So the foot rotates externally or out compared to the shin. So a lot of times it'll be a planted foot and then the body's rotating the opposite direction. So that extra rotation, basically the talus, which is the bottom bone of the ankle,
basically pries those two bones apart. So it's fixed on the ground, rotation goes out, bang, that's how you pop it. So yeah, it is a very, like on film, if you looked at it, you'd say, you could look and see like that's a high ankle or that's a low ankle. They're very different mechanisms. Yes.
Interesting. So, Dr. Crow joining us this morning inside the training room. Oh, I know last week we talked a little bit about Josh Allen with that elbow injury, and he did play in that game. And is there any concern, like if he, I think we kind of talked a little bit about it, but were you surprised, I guess, that he was out there and suited up and played?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think like we talked about, UCLs and football players just are not a common injury. And so a lot of times, even a quarterback throwing, just the mechanics are different enough where we don't see that holding back that often. The one variable is they kept talking about the nerve irritation. So I think I'd mentioned that if he's having issues with that ulnar nerve, that could affect his grip strength. But clearly it didn't. I mean, he made some ill-advised throws, but I think that's because the Vikings have such an elite defense, probably more than anything.
Nice.
But I mean, his throws look good. I mean, he threw the ball hard. He threw some accurate passes. So it didn't seem to hold him back a ton. But anytime you have an athlete like that, like these premier marquee players, the teams often do play it a little bit closer to the vest and say, look, we're not going to, talk about how bad the injury is. And so you don't really know. So it could be relatively mild, could be more severe. And sometimes it's really hard to tell. But clearly he went out and played, and it doesn't seem like it's going to hold him back too much. So that's obviously good for him.
So he obviously likes to run the ball a lot. Is there any concern that, with him running the football and, taking those hits and being physical, that he could like re-aggravate or aggravate some of those nerves in that elbow?
It's theoretically possible, but it'd be a really weird hit. So, I mean, you basically have to have the arm forced out against. So, like, I mean, I don't know if you saw the clip of where he was injured. He's throwing the ball, and basically as he was following through, someone hit his kind of wrist and forearm, and it just wrenched the elbow. We call that a valgus stress. That is a very atypical injury pattern. So we just don't see that very often. So, I mean, yes, it could happen if he's running and he, tries to stiff arm someone and gets his arm caught and twisted. I mean, yeah, but that's pretty fluke. I think it's a very safe injury for him to play through. And so that's probably why he got back out there, because the odds of him aggravating it are quite low, frankly.
Sticking with elbows, Bryce Harper, he's going to have elbow surgery, which, it's different age now in baseball, because it sounds like he may not be able to throw, doctor, but he could still go up there and swing and swing the bat. So I think he's got a UCL injury too, if my memory serves me correct.
That is correct. Yeah. So, and I will say, I mean, we see UCLs fairly commonly. That is an injury that we do see and treat. Again, baseball by far the most common. But even in baseball, I mean, 90+% are in pitchers. So to see a position player, it's just less typical. But yeah, so but the stress on that, again, it kind of dovetails into the discussion with Josh Allen. It really is stressed mainly with the throwing, especially throwing a baseball, just the mechanics of that. So a lot of times when people get back in rehabbing UCLs, they're able to get back and get to the batting cage and swing a bat way sooner than they are to throw a baseball. So yeah, I mean, in fact, Bryce was able to play most of last season with that injury still in the field. It's just the throwing was the big issue. So I think, as he recovers from that Tommy John surgery, he's likely going to be able to do that. So I don't know if they're going to, kind of utilize the DH again and do that, because certainly his bat's his best weapon probably. And I expect that to still go okay. But yeah, the throwing will take a while to get back, because it's such a really, truthfully, I mean, if you break it down, humans aren't made to throw baseballs like that. It just, the stresses across the elbow and the shoulder are just not natural, which is why, I have a job, because people are always injuring their shoulders and elbows. It just is really a violent motion that puts a ton of stress through those joints.
Just a couple more here for you, Dr. Crow. So we have a Rams offensive lineman, Chandler Brewer, played through a grade 3 MCL, suffered in a game. He is having surgery, 4 to 6 weeks. I know we've touched on a little bit in the past these different grades when it comes to MCL. Is grade 3, though, for those, just maybe hasn't heard our prior conversations, is that the worst one? Like the most severe one?
Yep. Grade 3 means it's fully torn. So yeah. So that the one thing is, there are some braces that we're able to put on different parts of the body that can actually provide some really quite legitimate good support. And MCLs are one of them. So when you see offensive linemen playing with those hinge knee braces, that does provide a good amount of support. Now, it's not the same thing as a ligament, so there's a reason he's having the surgery. But like, for example, compare it to an ACL tear. We do have ACL braces, but they just don't provide the same kind of support, especially rotational support that you need, which is why we do reconstructions on ACLs pretty much universally on young athletes. MCLs, you can brace in a much more efficient way. And so, I mean, clearly it's going to affect him. If it's a grade 3, that basically means if you examine his leg and put a stress on it, that knee just opens up and just keeps going. And so that's a very unstable injury, which is why he's going to have surgery. So pretty impressive he's able to play through it, to be totally honest.
Yeah. Last one, Dallas Goedert, tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. There's talk that he possibly has a fractured left shoulder. What would be like the time frame for that? Do you think his season's probably done with playing that tight end position too?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think it was on that face mask play too, wasn't it?
Yep.
It was. I know you watched that, and it was like, how did he actually get hurt? It was because he was down, and it didn't look like that violent of a hit. So the issue is shoulder. When they say shoulder fracture, that is just a little too nebulous for us to make any real clear distinction, because the shoulder could be anything from a shoulder blade injury, an acromion fracture, a glenoid fracture, a humerus fracture. And the treatment of those are going to be very different. The prognosis is going to be very different. So if I had to guess based on watching that, I'm wondering if he maybe had a shoulder instability event where he kind of like subluxar dislocated the shoulder. And so with those, you can see little breaks in the socket or the glenoid. And that would probably be a season-ending injury because it would require surgery. If it's a smaller little crack around one of the other bones, it could be more of a 4 to 6 week recovery process. But I haven't seen them describe whether he's going to undergo surgery or not, so I don't know that. And so that would be a big kind of fork in the road. If it's something that requires surgery, yeah, the season's almost certainly out. But if it's something they can treat non-operatively, he may have a chance to get back towards the end of the season. And obviously, that team is going to make a push in the playoffs, I'm sure. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out.
Yeah, definitely. So, also too, I should mention when I was at the game on Sunday, Packers Cowboys, buddy of mine I was sitting next to thought he broke his elbow twice, hitting it against a chair. He wanted me to ask you if he probably broke his elbow, and I'm like, dude, it's your funny bone. But he was dead set it was broken. So
the ulnar nerve, that's the same nerve that Josh Allen's dealing with. So he's basically a pro quarterback.
Don't tell him that, man. Dr. Crow, hey, appreciate the time as always, buddy. And next week, with it being Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and best of luck hunting this weekend too.
Yeah, you as well. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You got it. Thank you, Dr. Crow. Have a good one.
Yep.
There you go, Dr. Crow, inside the trading room. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. We'll take a quick, really, really quick break, and then we got Brandon in here, so we'll just jump right into it after these quick words. Yeah, I promised you a quick break there. Brandon Berg, good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning.
Got your Brewers hoodie on. Good, because I was going to talk to you about some baseball a little bit later on.
I
So,
thought you were gonna say because if you were in a Vikings one, I was gonna kick you out.
no, I mean, I'm not like that.
No, you're not.
I'm
No, you're not.
like that, so, but I want to get to some college football here too quick. Talk a little bit about the Badgers and some players getting decommitted, and Jimmy Leonard is still voicing some frustration with that. Plus, I want to get to some Bucks chat too. But before all that, just kind of, and I know they're not in your coverage area, but as we mentioned a couple times, Regis dominating state high school football yesterday. Mondovi falling a little short to another premier program in Stratford over there. And well, the higher divisions will finish up today.
Yes,
right?
1, 2, and 3 are today.
Okay, so is that kind of like we're in the winter sports season now, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, for the vast majority of schools, they already were. I
Yeah.
mean, beyond girls swimming and then the last weekend at state, and then football this week. So, but yeah, we've made that quick jump.
mhm.
You've got some some girls teams that are going to have 2-3 games even before Thanksgiving, but games were able to start Tuesday. Last night there's a decent slate of girls games around the state, and then next week you're going to have some other sports. All the sports are practicing, but
Okay. Even boys basketball.
even boys. Yep,
Okay.
yep. The last set of sports was able to start practice Monday. I think that was boys basketball, wrestling, and boys swimming.
Okay.
So they're all underway with practice, and yeah, next Tuesday is always kind of that early teaser because you've got a fair amount of teams that are able to play. So there are some teams that are playing over the Thanksgiving break, but really then once you return after that, it's full speed ahead.
Yeah. So you were watching Chi High and Wausau West? Okay.
Correct. Girls basketball last night from
Non-conference
Chippewa.
action.
Yep, to start the year. So
All right. How did it go?
well, Wausau West won 73-56. Well, I mean, for Chippewa, it's kind of a tale of two teams at two different spots right now. You have Wausau West, who returns, I think, their top 3 scorers. They won the Wisconsin Valley Conference last year.
Okay.
So I mean, you didn't take very long to see that they are going to be a legitimately very good team. And Chip was a team that last 2 years have been a struggle. They've won 1 game each of the last 2 years, but there's optimism with the team this year about grabbing some more wins. They kind of they like the combination of some seniors leading the way with some youngsters kind of being able to do some things. And look, they were very competitive against a very good team. Especially outside of the first 6 minutes, it was just a really rough start. And then after that, it just seemed like they took them a little bit to settle in. I mean, you had some kids that were playing, varsity either for the first time or their first big taste of it. So I mean, then that's always a bit of an adjustment, especially at the the D1 level. But that's a Chippewa team that I think in time is gonna they're gonna win some games this year.
Yeah.
And they scored, I think I said 56 points, and they only did that one time last year. And that was the game they won, which isn't too much of a surprise. But the offense was a bit of a struggle for them last year. But the first time out, they definitely looked a lot a lot improved from what we saw last year. So
Right.
Otherwise, kind of bouncing around too. McNell picked up a win to start the year over Marshfield Columbus.
Okay.
Cadott improved to 2-0 with a win in New Auburn.
Already 2 games under their
Oh,
belt.
and they got one tonight too.
Holy moly!
Yeah, they're gonna get some. They're gonna get their work in before Thanksgiving.
That is not a bad idea.
No, and then I talked earlier this week with Coach Dave Huska, and he mentioned, he goes, he's like, I don't do the schedule. He goes, but I like it. It's to get out and go. Like, it's nice, especially because once you get into January and February, you're not necessarily having too many of those 3-game weeks where you're playing on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Friday or something like that, because you're trying to find places to fit in a non-conference game.
Right. So if you want to check out some of the previews, Brandon has some winter sports previews.
They're rolling
at Chippewa.com, Chippewa Herald as well. So
they are rolling. Got some more coming up here, coming up this weekend and then early next week as well. So yeah, they're coming fast and furious right now.
Definitely. And I know this is a couple days old, but you talked about it, and I was going to bring it up with Coach on Tuesday, but Chippewa Steel have a Badger hockey commit.
They do. Joey Sylvester. Yeah, he committed earlier this week. And I mean, that's a good. Obviously, that's it's good whenever you got a premier Division I player on your team. But that's something that I think you're going to see more of with this team coming up here, because it's a good and it's a young talent base. So some of these kids now they're going to be able to get to that point now where they can start to make those decisions. But you've got some others on the team that are going to play at high level Division I programs as well. And that's reflecting in the fact that this is a team that is, it's got a winning record right now. They got 2 games at home this week, tonight and tomorrow night against the Minnesota Wilderness.
Yep.
So a couple.
Who's right behind them or
they're
ahead
right
of them?
there. They're right
Right-
there.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they're even. But
Yeah.
and they're
Points wise, they're even.
yeah,
Yeah.
points wise they're even, and the teams that are above them right now are actually teams that have played a couple more games. So
Right.
it'll even out in time. You would assume, but
It's a tight division right
it
now.
is, and that I think that says a lot for the teams all around it. That's kind of something that Coach mentioned when I talked to him earlier this week is that you have to give a lot of credit to just all the teams in that division because nobody rolls over, nobody's taking it easy, and
Mm-hmm.
if you just because you win a game on Friday doesn't mean you automatically you got one on Saturday. So
Right.
but yeah, Chippewa's got a couple home games. They had their biggest crowd of the year in their last home game, which was a couple weeks ago, and they've got some giveaways and stuff coming up this week.
Yep.
I think they got a hat giveaway tonight.
Toyson.
Yeah,
Our good friends at Toyson Ford.
Yeah,
Man
so
Cave,
that's
podcast sponsors. So.
Yes, there we go. And then tomorrow night, I think it's their
Military.
So they got the special jerseys.
Yep.
As well. So no, it's look, it's a good. I think it's a good weekend to get out and go do that.
Yep. If you're
So,
not hunting.
If you're not hunting,
Yep.
yeah. If you're not hunting,
Take the kiddos over to
there you go.
to
Go
a
watch some
hockey
hockey.
game. Yep. Also should mention too, just some blue gold action. They got a full slate coming up here, including tonight. You've got some swimming and diving. You've got women's basketball, men's hockey. You've got the NCAA national championships for cross country as well. UW Eau Claire involved in that. Wrestling's going on. So if you want to check out the entire, you got men's basketball at home Zorn Arena tomorrow night. The women's basketball is in Michigan for the I Hope College tournament, or for the Hope College tournament, excuse me. But if you want the complete schedule, you can head to bluegolds.com. It's right there on the right-hand side. You can check out their full slate. So busy action for the Blue Golds as well. All right, Brandon, speaking of college, Jimmy Leonard. So yesterday, last couple of days, we've been seeing some Badger commits reopening their recruiting process, which isn't, we've seen that a lot with coaching changes and college sports and that where
and I think you get it from the side of the kids because look, you're committing, as much as you're committing to a school, you're committing to a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it could be as simple as a lot of these guys. Hey, if Jim Leonard gets a job, like a lot of us think he will, then these kids may just say, okay, I just wanted to be sure.
Right.
You don't want to put yourself in a bad spot, but you're right. It leads to what's been a bit of an awkward situation right now.
Yeah. Our good friend Colton Bartholomew asked this question to Jimmy Leonard yesterday. And remember, was it a week or so ago? He made some comments about it's kind of hard to, alluded to it being hard, him not being named a head coach and trying to keep these recruits here. Well, Colton asked him just the other day, you've had to ask recruits and current players to be patient during the coaching transition. Has it been difficult for you to stay patient? Because obviously it's a big part of your future in this profession. How have you tried to manage that? Jimmy Leonard's response, yeah, I'm not in control of the timeline right now. So I have to do everything I can to keep the program going in the right direction and have the communication with our players and recruits and families and just try to win games at this point. I think hopefully within the near future, there's an answer because the longer it takes, the harder it gets to ask people to be patient because there's huge deadlines coming up with your current roster and decisions they may have to make. Recruits and signing day, the transfer portal thing is starting to get closer and closer. So the longer it takes, the harder it becomes to ask for that patience. And everyone involved, I think, knows that. And kind of what I was mentioning first, Jimmy Leonard's in a tough position where he's got to win games to improve maybe his chances of getting the job, although I don't know how much more he has to do, but he's got to have that mindset. But at the same time, keep these kids here because if he does get the job, that's going to affect his job in the next couple of years performance-wise. He's in a tough spot right now.
It is. It's a tough spot, and I think that's why really I think you can learn a lot from him in this interim situation. Sometimes you really can't, but I think here with so many moving parts, you can. And it's he's right though. We're getting to a point now where we got to get some answers because you're not going to go into the bowl game if they make a bowl game, assuming they win at least one of their last 2 games. You're not going to go into that knowing or not knowing if he's either got it or not.
Right.
Like you can't do that. You have to, you have to pour it off the pot, as the saying says. If you're administration.
Thank you for cleaning that up.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem. But at some point here, I mean, you start the clock with with Chris McIntosh, because at some point when they open it, I think it's 7 days, something like that.
Yeah. He said when they open it, it's not going to be up for very long.
No,
So
so it's almost something you have to do soon.
yeah.
So, and then you if you need to do any other interviews, whatever, you do it, but you can't let it linger,
Right.
because at some point you need to know either this is your guy or someone else is your guy, but you need to know by the time you get into December, because you're right, that's when transfer portal opens up for everybody. That's when a lot of these early recruits can sign. Like, you just have a lot of things that happen in that month,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to have an answer to be able to go to these kids and say, hey, this is what we got. This is what we're going with.
And I have to imagine, at least I hope, the delay in all this is that McIntosh is doing behind the scenes, looking at maybe potential other coaches or something like that.
Hopefully really trying to make sure he has an idea of who is interested.
Right.
Not just, well, we're going to open up and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. That back channel communication sort of stuff, right? That sort of, you'd hope that he's just not sitting around and, just like
twiddling the thumbs.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I don't either. But you got to wonder, what do they say? Deadlines spur actions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, deadlines are coming up here. So you would think you'd want to make that decision quick. But I think there's some frustration starting to boil from fans, too.
It is.
So I think they're starting to get a little bit concerned on how the program is going to look.
Yes. And, for me, I don't think I was ever super caught up in, how many wins and losses they would necessarily have. It would, under Leonard, like, well, if he was 4-1 instead of 3-2, he would be, I would, like, nothing like that. Like, to me, it's just about, the response. Like, you can tell these players are playing for them, are playing for him. But, this team, it's just like they weren't never going to go on this magical run and win every game and, make a run to the Big Ten title game, no matter how much the Big Ten West wanted to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
But, now you're at the point now where you got 2 games left. You got 2 winnable games, but they're also 2 losable games. I mean, you're facing 2 teams that have things they do, and they're teams that, look, they're playing too. Like, Nebraska's in a similar boat.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Minnesota, who, depending on how this week goes, like, that could carry some, conference title or division championship implications for them next week. And they've got a very good running back in Mo Ibrahim, and they've got a young quarterback that's done some things since he's taken over. So it's going to be a very interesting 2 weeks for a lot of reasons, and maybe more so than you would have thought if at the start of the year you saw this team was 5-5.
So I think we all assume it's going to be Leonard's job anyways. And I think that's the other frustration part in this is just, well, what's taking so long to do that, And I mean, the longer it takes, I mean, is there like some serious doubts that McIntosh could go a different direction? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is new ground, because no one thought he would have made the move he did when he fired Paul Chryst.
Yeah, a little unpredictable.
A little bit. I mean, we don't have a long track record to say, well, this person has patience, or this person acted quickly, or this is what they did.
Yeah, and you think about like all the stuff too now that as an interim head coach, that Jimmy Leonard, I mean, the passing of a couple former Badgers, with the team that he currently has, they were really close with that individual. I mean, he's had to handle a lot of different stuff on his plate right away for
it hasn't been just your standard interim coach situation, because there's been a lot of those around the country. But yeah, you're right. This is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I personally think he's handled it well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. At some point, like, we have to start getting some answers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think we will, but we just haven't seen it yet.
Right. I agree. To answer this one texter, does Matt LaFleur called Jimmy Leonard about a defensive coordinator job might push the issue? Well, remember, Jimmy Leonard, by all accounts, turned it down 2 years ago. So
if let's put it this way, Jim, I think this my feeling, and honestly, I don't think I'm alone in this. Jim Leonard's either the head coach of the Badgers next year, or he's not with Wisconsin next year.
Right.
There's I don't see a scenario where he comes back.
I agree.
If he's not the head coach, and I don't blame him. Like, he's done everything you've asked, and if the administration decides, hey, he's just not the guy, then he'll take another opportunity, and he'll have some opportunities out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. That time has passed, and for going to Green Bay and that sort of thing, that's not out of there now too. But yeah, I agree with you though too. It's either Wisconsin or he's somewhere else. He's going to be a head coach. I think
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
the next jump is going to be a head coach.
Or he could maybe be a D coordinator at like a high level Power 5, understanding like, okay, I'll do this for a year or two, and this will be my springboard. But either way, he's not far from being a head coach.
No, I agree. So
I mean, he already is, I guess, one now, but you know what I mean.
Right, full time.
Yes,
without that tag on him. So, but I just don't see him. I mean, and here's the thing too with Packers fans, the whole Jimmy Leonard love affair, which I like the guy and all that too. But I mean, that's also an unproven NFL defensive coordinator.
It's a big jump to go from college and
yeah,
facing some of the teams that they play to the NFL. Like it's a lot different.
Yeah. So, all right, let's take a quick break here, B, and then we'll talk some hoops with the Bucks back in action too. We'll be back after these quick words. Catching up on a few texts here. We used to get frustrated when McCarthy would play prevent defense when we were up 2 scores. Now we play prevent defense all game. The most concerning thing with this team is the coaching staff at head coach and coordinators is below average, no detailed game plans. Then throw in they can't adjust to game flow. When Rodgers doesn't play well, Packers can't run a functional offense. Teams play to the head coach's identity. He has no fire and intensity. Our coach is soft, emotional, and crying last week is unacceptable. Jeez, somebody's upset. Titans came in tough, physical, and played it like a playoff game. Yikes. Packers have no identity. Can't throw the ball consistent. Last night proved we're not a running team. We can run on below average teams, but can't do anything against upper tier teams. I can't believe this team is from the original black and blue division. At times it looked like the offense last night looked like last year's offense with creativity, fake handoff, up the middle, pitch it out to Jones for 7 yards, looked great. But they just couldn't be consistently good last night. Rodgers missed some throws last night again. Receivers not running routes again. Defense played well to an extent. I feel they did well against Derrick Henry, but when it comes to the pass defense, where I was watching Dom Capers call plays last night. Big third down and longs came up, and they couldn't cover anything. The Honorable Travis from 8-Town. Game didn't go as we hoped, but had a good burger and some tasty man cave lights last night. Congrats on a successful launch party, Dan. Good luck to all the hunters this weekend. Shoot straight and be safe. So it was good. It is interesting to hear. I was talking with a couple people last night who weren't Packers fans, but they're asking is like, are people like actually calling for Matt LaFleur's job and all that? And well, there was one texter that kind of sounds like it, and with no, they don't have a say. They're not a fan or Packer fan or anything. They're like, what the heck is going on with Packers fans right now? Calling out a coach and all that sort of stuff. It's interesting to get a different perspective from like a different fan base. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you're a Vikings fan too, but it's definitely interesting to like, what do the outsiders kind of assess it as? So, and a couple people I talked to are like, you guys got a good coach and you still got Aaron Rodgers and that sort of thing too. So, but each their own.
Yeah.
To each their own. So that was a heck of a win for you guys last night or last week.
Yeah.
So don't need to talk about that. Just kidding.
It's the downside of coming in on Fridays and not Mondays, right? If I was here on Mondays, I would try to find a way to steer a conversation in that direction. So it's probably a good thing.
That is true. So before we get to more football talk, let's first I've got I don't know if you have somebody else, but I was going to do the Carpet City Sports Spotlight. I got a couple. I'm going to do a tie, if that's okay with you.
If it's what I think you're going to do, is literally the same thing I was thinking.
Regis Mondovi?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Like,
we're on the same page.
Yes, I mean, come on.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
Yes, we are.
All right, so this week, Regis and Mondovi get the...
you're getting it.
You're getting it. So, you might want to display that one a little bit more than the trophy. Just say, or put it next to it.
There you go. Just have, I mean, in the trophy case, just have it,
Because,
get a nice frame, and you can just...
Because we got, Thanksgiving next week, so we won't be able to do one.
So
we'll do a tour up today.
There we go.
I like it. So,
Double it up.
All right. Next hour, we'll get to the cream of the crop. I made this for you, by the way. You got your headphones on? There you go. That's going to be coming up next hour. Doesn't that get you motivated on a Friday?
Come on. That gets me motivated on any day.
So we'll hit that up too, along with some picks and predictions. But got the Bucks back in action against the 76ers tonight. A couple nights ago, Bucks were a little banged up. Giannis having a little bit of an off night, but it was Splash Mountain. Brooke Lopez, who was on fire, especially from three. Jordan Nora coming off the bench, putting up over 20 points. I feel like a lot of people are just as kind of like, I was going through some of the Twitter stuff about Jordan Nora, like, hey, thanks for improving your stock trade or your trade stock sort of thing.
Yeah, because there's the vibe out there about Jay Crowder.
Yeah, and the thing is too, it's like the NBA, remember, is different because he signed Jordan signed that contract late,
You gotta
so they
wait.
can't trade him till like January.
Yeah,
I
you gotta
believe.
wait.
Yeah, which is kind of a weird thing, but
Mhm.
at some points I get it too. You know, because NBA, there's so many trades already that go on, but that was kind of like it's. But you know, when you think about it, when this team actually does get healthy, the rotation is going to be very interesting to kind of see how it plays. Like I would be surprised if the Bucks try to trade like 2 guys for one or 2 guys for a player in cash or something like that.
Yeah, because especially they got a lot of guards.
Yeah, because I can't see them. I mean, Carter, George Hill, I think are still going to be there.
Yeah,
Budenholzer loves himself some George Hill.
he does.
Carter is a good 3-point shooter when he's on.
Yep.
So, and then, you know, I don't see those guys moving on. I don't see them moving on from Pat Connaughton.
No, they just extended him.
Right.
I mean, same with Wesley Matthews. I mean, I think they really value his 3-and-D ability.
Right.
I mean, there's a Grayson Allen.
Right.
You know, who knows?
Yeah. Never know.
Yeah.
But I feel like they are going to make a move at some point.
Yeah.
It might not be a big splash move, but
Yeah. Because
they've got a lot of luxury of players.
Exactly. And they have Joe Ingles coming back, but it's gonna take him a little bit. And
Right.
you know, and when he gets back, I mean, it might take him a little bit to settle back into what works for him.
Mm-hmm. Do you think has Brook Lopez been the biggest surprise so far this year? Because when you actually look at it, though, too, I was doing this the other day. What he's averaging this season has actually been his career numbers. It just feels like maybe we really took him for granted a little bit.
I think maybe we did take him for granted a little bit. I think that the tweaks to the game have helped. The defense have helped.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be quite so paint protection heavy when you have Giannis and Brook Lopez, who can just do that anyway.
Right.
And he's just he's healthy this year, which is big. Last year was the back injury, so I think just being healthy and having a spot to thrive has really paid off for him.
Mm-hmm. I think the one number that is higher than his career average has been the 3-point shot. The 3-point, but otherwise, like points per game and like rebounds were like almost exactly the same. Which kind of I'm like, hey, but he's had those big games. Yeah.
Yeah, and they seem like they've come at big times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's been a nice surprise. I really like that. Because I will admit I took him for granted last year. I thought, when he was out, it's like, oh, when he comes back, do you trade him or do you keep him on the bench and Bobby Portis this offseason? Do you trade him? And that's like, I'm glad they didn't do that now. I'm glad they didn't listen to me on there because he's been fantastic.
Yep.
Especially with the absence of Chris Middleton, kind of being that number 3 option. And now maybe he's the number 2 option, depending on how long Drew Holiday's out.
Yep.
With that injury. So 76ers tonight, Joel Embiid coming off that huge performance against the Jazz the other night. So this one's on the road before the Bucks again return home next week for 3 games. A lot of home games so far for the Bucks to open up this
season.
Interesting.
Coming tonight, the Bucks will have played 6 road games, and 2 of them are in Philly.
Yeah. December, they're on the road a lot.
Yeah, they are from about the middle of the month till right before New Year's Eve. They got pretty much all on the road.
Yeah. I think they've December 1, 2, 3, 4, just 5 home games in the month of December.
And 3 of them are pretty early.
Yeah, you got the Lakers, Sacramento, Golden State, Utah, and then at the end of the month, it's Minnesota. T-Wolves there. So that game tonight, 6:30 tip, although we know it never really starts on time. So it's
always a few minutes after. So.
A few minutes after. So, but the coverage will begin on your radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM at about 6 a.m. I was going to say 6 a.m.
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
This show starts at 6 a.m.
I'm ready for the weekend. I'm worn out,
ready for the stand?
I know I'm going to fall asleep. I've been like getting 2 hours, 3 hours of sleep every night this week. Come back from a Packer game, and then last night, and then I'm only going to get a few tomorrow and the whole weekend. It'll be rough, man. Yeah, I'm asking you to feel sorry for me right now, and you don't give a rip right now. So you don't. I get it.
Well,
I totally get it.
I don't want you to be tired out there.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. So, anybody got any plans for the weekend for the opener? Let us know if you got anything cool planned or traditionally planned besides Surveyor Sam's tequila bottle that they finish off on. They will start that tonight and finish that. Yeah. Ooh. Now, to be fair, he says there's not just him; it's a group, but still.
Ooh.
Tequila bottle. I can't do that. I can't do tequila. If there's one thing, I can't do that.
I don't like it. I mean, I like it in stuff like a good margarita or something, but
I don't even like that.
yeah.
There's no.
For me, my liquor bugaboo has always been gin.
Mm-hmm.
Not a gin fan.
Yeah.
I'm just not classy enough. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't have as refined a palate for it.
That's one way to put it.
That's the way we will put it, I guess.
I like it. So those would be like your top two. You're like, no.
Probably. Well, I mean, the irony is not lost on me though that a while ago my friends and I, for our softball team, we created a shot. We're like, we need an official shot for our team.
So I did that in college too.
And it's the BIT shot. And
Mhm.
2/3 of the BIT shot is tequila and gin.
Oh.
Because we were playing 7-14-21 and said, okay, well, tell you what, we'll each pick a third of the shot, and this is it. This is the official shot. I got 7, so I get to pick the first, which of course I picked Blackberry Brandy.
So it's blackberry brandy, gin, and tequila.
And I will say this: it's not as bad as it sounds, but I'm not going to say it's good.
Oh my gosh.
It is, yeah.
What's worse, that or the one I made in college that I call the Terminator? Jaeger and tequila. And I'm not trying it. I'm not doing a taste test to figure that one out either.
I don't know. Like I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind Jaeger.
Yeah, but mixed with tequila. I had somebody tell me it tasted like Pepsi one time. I don't know where they got that from, but
that's right. When I was a little younger, one of my sisters told me that she thought tequila tasted or smelled and tasted like bug spray, and I've never gotten that out of my head.
Ooh. Ugh. Yuck. Okay.
But hey, to each their own. Like I said, I know people that swear by gin, and I'm just not a gin guy.
No. So, but I've done my couple traditions already. I knocked out Escanaba. Watch that. Listen to the 30-point buck. We'll play the original at some point this morning.
There we go.
I suppose we only got an hour left, and the turtleneck is packed. For some reason, Brandon, I don't know why this thing fits, but I had a Packer turtleneck when I was like in elementary or middle school, a green one and gold lettering. That thing still fits.
Is it like a schmedium or?
No, it like fits normal. Like, so I don't know if when I got it, because I remember when I got it, I think I got it at a Shopko, but I also at the same time, must have been at Shields, got a Robert Brooks jersey.
Nice.
And I remember like in the 90s, 2000s, if you wore a jersey, you always had a turtleneck under it. Like when you were kids, you always had like the turtleneck underneath it.
I never thought of that, but yeah, now that you mention that, yes.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I'm like, oh, I got a Robert Brooks jersey. I need a turtleneck, so I got that. It must have been huge when I was a kid or something because it still fits. So that's my rifle hunting shirt. I'm like Aaron Rodgers with the white turtleneck. I got the Packer turtleneck for hunting season.
So when's the next time you're going to a game to wear that Robert Brooks jersey?
Pooh, never. Never.
It would be like nice and snug.
It's still no. It's. I think again, it was an adult size. So when I got it as a kid, it was a little baggy. But I think when we were all kids, we always had like baggy jerseys.
Yep.
So I think I don't know if that was middle school or elementary school. I want to think it was like 4th grade. I think when I got all that, and it still fits the turtleneck, which I'm surprised. But I only wear it during rifle season, and it's still in good shape. That's one of my traditions, though.
Everyone's got them.
Mm-hmm. Or superstition. Probably a little bit more superstition. But
first time am I wrong in saying this is the first time in a few years that there's been like consequential snowfall?
Like actual snow on the ground for hunting season? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I think so.
Like,
I mean, there's been a little, but
yeah, there's been like a dusting, but
yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I think you might be right.
I don't know.
Kind of depending on where you're at, though, too.
Yeah, of course. Like if you're further up north, then it's not as much of an issue. But I don't know. It seems like the last few years, I don't remember there being much. And it's weird because I feel like when I was a kid, like even before I went hunting, and this is a conversation I had with a friend this week, where it seemed like you were jumping through snowdrifts.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with that.
And I don't know if that's just sweetening the memory of when I was a kid, yada yada yada, but.
No,
that's how I remember it. Like
I remember before I would sit before I could legally hunt.
Yep.
There was snow. And I remember clearly remember it.
And I remember before I went, my dad had some friends that would come up from the southern part of the state and stay with us and go hunting. And like I just remember it always being very snowy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
because they'd be out hunting and I'd be out in my front yard throwing my football around to myself and running around.
yeah. I remember. Yeah, that's bringing back some memories. I just think about like how dumb I was as a kid.
I think about how dumb I am as an adult.
I just remember one time that, and I told this last night at the launch party. I think it was my first year because I was sitting in a ground blind, and I just remember because I always have a book with me,
Mhm.
whether I read it or not. I just need something to kill the time. And I remember the book I was reading. I was 12, so I would have been in 6th grade. Must have been 6th grade.
Something like
So I was
that.
like, my birthday's in July, so I was always a younger one. No, 7th grade. It was 7th grade because I was a younger. So yeah, for some reason I thought I'm going to read The Rainmaker by John Grisham as a 7th grader, 6th or 7th grader. And I remember reading, looking up, like I always had, like I'll read a page, look up, that sort of thing. And read a page, looked up, nothing. Read a page, looked up, monster. I didn't hear anything. It's just there, like 40 yards, dead center. I didn't even pull up my gun. I stood up and got the attention of my grandpa. I'm like, hey, look at that one. And yeah, I thought it was so big, Brandon, as a kid, I thought it was an elk. And my idiot self as a 12-year-old, instead of reaching for it, I stood up.
Well, maybe we have
you got like people texting
my
you or
phone's
something.
blowing up
Holy
for
cow.
various reasons. But like for me, I always like because I went hunting when I was younger, but as I got a little older, I just I didn't have time to do it, which which sucks. Because even though I don't get a chance to do it anymore, I've always just have a ton of respect for it because obviously in this state it's an institution.
Right.
But there's always you beeped. There's
I
always
beeped.
2 stories that my dad likes to tell when it comes from my time hunting. The first was making a drive with some guys and not going all the way, but going most of the way in a swamp. Thankfully, I was smart enough, had the gun over my head, but I was quite wet, and I was not happy. 13, 14-year-old Brandon was very upset. And the other was I was actually standing on a drive, and there was a doe that had come through, I think, and I had taken a couple shots and missed, and there was decent long shots, but I also had a clip,
Oh, yeah.
and I had forgotten in the truck.
Oh.
So I took my couple shots I had, and I was done. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not getting this deer because I'm out of bullets. And then suddenly this 8-pointer walks in, and I can't do I can't do anything. Like I could get thrown a rock at it, but I'm not that lethal.
Right.
So, yeah,
It's a good story.
yeah.
Rest of you got any cool stories or good stories like that? Pass those along. So, all right, Shot Clock's gonna cut us off here. So, I'll tell you what, coming up in just a couple minutes, we're gonna do some picks and predicts. At least we don't have to pick that Packer game. That's done with. We'll do the rest of the slate though, and we'll do some college games on there too. Plus, we've got cream of the crop. Cream of the crop. One more hour. We'll be back after these quick words. Final hour kicking off on this Friday morning. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate you making us a part of your start to this TGIF, whether maybe you're getting ready to head up to deer camp or just finishing up the work week here. Coming up here in a little bit, we're going to do some predictions, some picks. We're going to do the cream of the crop a little bit later on as well. We might do a little shootout. I haven't decided yet, Brandon. We might do a little shootout too. So, you know what? We are going to do a shootout because we're going to do a Thanksgiving edition of shootout. That's right,
because we're not going to be here next week.
We're not going to be here, so we'll do a Thanksgiving edition of shootout. I like it. Before that, though, let's catch up with a Hall of Famer. Good morning, G-Man. How you doing, buddy?
Captain Brandon, how you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Good. How are you doing, bud?
Oh, excellent. It's nice and crisp out here today. The heater's working good. Toe warmers and hand warmers on, and you can't stop these Norwegians. They go all day long.
That's awesome. Hey, big thanks for last night, buddy. That was a lot of fun hanging out with you.
You know, Captain, you and I look pretty good behind the bar, don't we?
We do look pretty good. I got to text you those pictures. That's right. We do look pretty good behind the bar. We might have something there.
Awesome. That was an awesome fun time. And that burger is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh.
It is. It is.
Hey, Captain, can I give a shout out to my dad?
Absolutely. I love this story.
16 years old. He started deer hunting. This is his 70th year tomorrow. He's never missed a year.
Awesome.
Yes. G-Man was telling me that last night, and that's so awesome.
Yep. And he can't wait to go again and again and again. And that's what's going to happen. We're just going to keep going and going and going. Like I said, you can't stop these Norwegians.
You can't stop him. You can't stop him. That's you got to keep me posted on on how well he does and your brothers do too. Okay, bud?
Yes, I will let you know.
Awesome.
What's brown is down. That's why you buy them tags.
I love your quotes, buddy. I love them. That's awesome. Well, you stay warm out there, okay, sir?
Yes, you guys stay warm and good luck, Captain. It's going to happen. Like we talked about last night, you're going to fill your tag and all's good in the state of Wisconsin.
I hope so. I hope so, buddy. Well, we'll talk soon before Thanksgiving. Okay, bud?
Okay, sounds good. You guys have a good day.
You too. There you go. There's the Hall of Famer, G-Man, joining us here this morning. Yeah, he was telling me that last night, Brandon. His dad first started hunting at 16, and I think it's 70 or 72 years in a row. Wow. He hasn't missed an opening day. Wow.
That's a streak. That's a Cal Ripken streak right there.
That's amazing. That's awesome, too. And G-Man's brothers are going to make sure that his dad goes out there. He was saying
excellent.
Too, so. Excellent. That's the stories I like to hear. Mm-hmm. That stuff right there. All right, B, you ready to do a little picks?
I think so.
Predicts? All right, let's start off with the college football world. Not a lot of premier matchups.
It's kind of a down week, dead week for the SEC because they always have that late floating non-conference.
What does Alabama play, like the Citadel or something?
Yeah, you just got a lot of those matchups. That's why College Game Day is going to Bozeman for
Montana.
Well,
they were gonna go watch some Yellowstone.
Yeah. Oh, but I do think if UCLA wouldn't have lost, they would have been for UCLA USC.
Yeah.
But that game, College Game Day game, does have one of the great names of a football rivalry, the Brawl of the Wild.
Okay, I like that.
Yes,
that is pretty good. So, but we still got a couple games we can go with this, right? Utah, Oregon, 10-12 matchup.
Yeah.
At Oregon, who you riding with?
Oregon. I'm going to go Oregon. I've talked at length of how I'm not really a Bo Nix believer, but every time I say that, he comes out and puts out a big game. So I like Utah, but I just think Oregon's playing really, really well right now.
At Oregon too, so
and Hudson's always tough.
Yeah, you mentioned that one, USC versus UCLA at UCLA.
USC, I think
on the outside looking in, they got to win these games and hope for a little bit of help.
Yep, I think we're on a USC.
Yep, I agree.
Crash course right here.
I'm going to go USC. How about I know they're not ranked, but OK State is Oklahoma State at Oklahoma.
Bit of a different spot for Bedlam.
Mm-hmm.
Usually Oklahoma's the higher rated team, but I'm going to go OK State. I mean, Oklahoma, I don't know what to make of them right now.
Yeah.
And
I'll go OK State as well. How about let's go. Just kind of scrolling through some of these. No, I don't want to do that one. it's just like that Georgia Kentucky one. If that was a few weeks ago, that would actually kind of look
Yeah,
decent
Kentucky
too,
stock is especially falling to Vanderbilt last week.
Yeah. Just kind of looking at how about TCU at Baylor? I'll just throw that one in there.
I mean TCU, but I mean
Mhm.
Baylor. Obviously, we know with Dave Aranda, that's a tough team to watch just because they could that defense can show up.
Right.
So, but I will take TCU. I am all in on TCU right now. I really want to see them make it through. All
Yeah.
glory to the Hypnotoad.
This one a couple weeks ago would have been an interesting one that but I think we would have still picked the same one. Illinois and Michigan.
Yeah,
Illinois losing their last 2 games, so it's that they've dropped out of the rankings, and
yeah,
that's what's kind of made the Big Ten West a little bit more open
it is
at
nuts.
that same point too. So it's kind of like the bottom teams in the NFC playoff push. For
Yeah,
something
someone's
like
gonna make it.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, someone's gonna make it, but Michigan. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think Michigan gets caught peeking ahead to the big game next week.
I don't either. And same for Ohio State going up against Maryland. I think they'll take
care of business
too. All right, so Wisconsin then at Nebraska. You want me to bring up the line for this game?
I mean, you can, but I mean, I'll go Wisconsin. I do think they bounce back. Last week, man, you just feel bad for the defense last week because that defense played a really good game. They allow the two touchdowns they allowed. I don't think either drive was more than 20 yards.
Yeah, it's
just that defense played so well, and I get Iowa's not an explosive offense, but still, it was just breakdowns on offense and special teams.
Yep.
And I don't think Nebraska has that. The black shirt defense is not the black shirt defense of old.
Mm-hmm.
I think they bounce back here. I think and I think they get bowl eligible.
Okay. What if I told you the line's 10.5 though for the Badgers?
Man,
that does seem a little high for me.
It seems a little high, but you know what? I'm gonna say they cover that.
Okay.
I'm gonna say they win by like 2 scores.
I'll go Badgers, but I don't think they cover. The over under is 39.5.
Ooh. Now I think I saw correctly that Iowa Minnesota's over under is like the lowest in a long time.
Let me bring it up, see if I can get it up here. Is it where's it at?
The game is in Minnesota.
Okay. Just so I know where to kind of bring this up here. Where are you at? Okay, here we go. I got it. It is the over under.
Yeah.
32.5.
Which I thought was
which was 34 last week for Wisconsin and Iowa.
Yes.
So
but I think I had seen that was like the lowest over under in a long time.
Which Wisconsin, Iowa, of course.
Yeah.
Right on the dot. 34. So last week. Minnesota's favored by 2.5 in that one. So
yeah.
Do they do the 3 for home in college too?
I think so.
Okay.
I would almost think though that you would almost give maybe a little more for home, just because
the college atmosphere and
home field event. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of NFL, you ready to do some picks? Because there's some interesting lines in this week's games. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them, Brandon, but there's some interesting ones on here. Let's start off with Carolina at Baltimore. Baltimore's favored by 13 in this game. Baker Mayfield's going to be starting.
You know what? I'm going to take Baltimore, and I will take the points there.
I'll take Baltimore. I just feel like Baltimore's not going to cover. Like, it's going to be closer than what it should be.
Like a game where they're in control, but they're not ever
they're not putting it away.
Out. Yes.
Yeah. So I think Baltimore can win by like 10 in that. I'll take Baltimore, but I don't think they cover by 13. Philadelphia at the Colts. Philly favored by 7.
Philly. And
Philly
I think they cover.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that too. The Jets at New England. New England at 3.5 favorite.
I'm gonna pick New England.
I picked New England the last time these two faced each other, and that was at New York. But I'm going with the Jets this time in New England to get the win. Don't know why.
This could be a low score.
It could be. That AFC East is kind of wild now too, thanks to Buffalo losing a couple games. Here's an interesting one, Brand. Not really interesting, but Washington at Houston. Washington's favored by 3.
It's like they're like, oh no, it's not interesting. I'm gonna take Washington. I am.
There's just a lot of games that are like 3 point, you know.
Yes, the pick'ems.
Yeah.
Almost pick 'em. But I'll take Washington. I mean, this team responds to Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, they do.
You know, for one reason or another, they do.
Yeah.
So
I will say, if Houston does beat Washington, I'm going to be more pissed about that game last night, since Washington's above Green Bay.
yeah, because then they got the tiebreaker.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I will pick Washington in this one. Rams, Saints favored by 3.
Looked a lot better of a game at the start of the year.
Yeah.
I went with Saints. I think the dome advantage and this Rams team just
stinks. What's more disappointing, the Rams or the Packers this year? Rams are defending Super Bowl champs.
I think I'd say Rams because the Packers have had some struggles in offense, but I think some people thought that was possible.
Yeah.
You know, Rams coming off the Super Bowl, like I think you knew there's always a bit of a Super Bowl hangover. But man, this is a
and it's weird. Like
this is it's the next night, and you're still not sure if you can eat anything because you're so hungover.
Yeah, I feel like all the talk about Odell Beckham Jr. I felt like at the time the Rams actually upgraded from Allen Robinson to Rob.
Oh yeah, I really like Allen Robinson, but there just has been no chemistry there.
No.
And now with Cooper Kupp out, like he's gonna, there's the opportunity's gonna be there, but I don't know if there's gonna be anything they can do with it.
Yeah.
So no, I don't, I don't think super highly of the Saints, but I think that dome environment, I think they find a way.
I'm actually with Matthew Stafford coming back from concussion. I'll give them the slight advantage. Do you think the Saints cover though?
What was the line?
3.
No.
Okay. How about this one? This is an interesting one now. Detroit at the Giants. Giants are only favored by 3. So they're saying if this was neutral site,
it'd be even. Lions coming off a big win against the Bears.
The thing is like that line's like, why is that line so short? But if you think about it, it's like, but can you see the Lions win? I could see the Lions win.
I will take the Giants, but it would not surprise me to see the Lions put up some points there.
That's like, everybody's like, oh, yeah. But think about it.
Yeah, based on records, this looks like a big mismatch, but it would not be a surprise.
I'll take the Giants too, but I'm like you. I would not be surprised if the Lions win. Not at all. And then how about this one? Chicago at Atlanta. Again, another 3-1. Atlanta favored by 3, which means neutral site, be even.
I'm going to take Chicago. I think, especially being indoors, I think Justin Fields just runs all over the place.
I got Chicago in this one too. They've got something figured out with that offense now.
They do, and they're just letting Justin Fields play. Like instead of like, well, this is what we want you to do. It's like, okay,
they're putting him in a position to succeed.
To me, that's no matter what the sport is, no matter what the level is, that's the essence of coaching. You find out what your athletes do well, and you put them in a spot to succeed, and they're doing that with him.
And why do so many coaches still not do that? You know what I mean? Like, I totally agree with you.
It's like, this is what we do. This is how we want to do it. Well, do you want to win, or do you want to just say, hey, we did what I wanted to do? Like, if you're a coach, to me, I've always thought, like, if you're a coach, does it really matter how you win if you win?
Right.
Like, as far as like, hey, if you have to adjust because, your team has certain traits.
The perfect example of that, I think, is Andy Reid.
Yeah.
I mean, West Coast 90s guy, yet he's still coaching at a freaking high level, and he's adjusted.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect example.
Yes.
We got Cleveland at Buffalo, but now it's at Detroit. Detroit's 7.5.
We have been to. You mean Buffalo is?
Oh, yes.
Well, I mean,
it is the Detroit Bills. So
Buffalo. I think they bounced back well coming off that loss last week, and this Browns team. I just Buffalo. I got Buffalo too, and I think they cover. Your reward, Buffalo, by the way, is staying the whole week in Detroit because you got Thursday against Detroit. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. I'm assuming they're staying the whole week. I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, with it being a Thursday, I mean, it'd be different, I think, if it was a Sunday game. But if it's a Thursday, you might as well.
Yeah. But they get to stay there the whole week, potentially. Although it's not that far of a trip if they wanted to.
No.
But it's just logistic-wise.
No, might as well.
How about this one? That's Raiders at the Broncos. Ooh. Broncos favored by 2.5.
Ugh. Going off of my official Sports Talk 105.1 picks, which I always refer to for these because I want to, I've got Denver picked, but I'm switching it. I'm going Raiders.
I'm going Raiders too.
I'm tired of getting burnt on picking Denver. They're just not good.
That whole division outside of the Chiefs is just. Who said it yesterday? Was it Orlovsky that said it's the worst division in history? And I think it's just based off the expectations of this division.
Oh yeah, because coming into this year, it was, oh my gosh, this is a
three teams going to make it? Could 4 teams make it?
Ooh, look at these quarterbacks. Look at this. Look at that.
Well, and it was like edge rushers galore too. Khalil Mack goes to Chargers. Chandler Jones goes there.
This is the SEC East. This is the AL East. Like, this is every example you can think of, and nope.
Fart in the wind.
Fart noises.
Yeah, I'm going Raiders in this one too. Cowboys at the Vikings. Cowboys favored by 1.5.
I'm actually taking Dallas in this one. I think that, and I don't even want to say it's necessarily a bit of a letdown. I think this for me is more about, I think Dallas bounces back from last week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they took one on the chin, obviously, giving up that lead to Green Bay.
Yeah. And
I think they come back, and I think they win. I think it's a 1-score game. I mean, I think Minnesota loses this game and then beats New England on Thanksgiving night.
I completely agree with you. I just think, and that's not a knock on Minnesota.
No.
It's not. It's just, you got 2 high emotional games for Minnesota. If you think about it, at some point they're probably going to have a little bit of a
crash. Like, yeah, no, I think Dallas wins this one.
I agree. Okay, something just popped up on the news. I'll get to it here in a second, but wow. Bengals at Pittsburgh. Bengals 3.5.
Bengals.
I'll go Bengals too. Kansas City at the Chargers. Kansas City favored by 4.5.
I don't know what this is. Another one I got to change for whatever reason. I don't know what I was thinking when I made this pick, but I picked the Chargers, and I'm changing that. That's Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm going Kansas City. And I think they cover too. And then the 49ers at Arizona. 49ers 8.5 favorites.
Niners.
I'll go Niners. I don't think they cover though. There's just something I don't think they cover. So.
And I think I just saw what you were referring to.
Yeah. All right. So those were picks. This is what I'm referring to. So the Titans last night, obviously getting the W, and a good offensive performance, good play calling by their offensive coordinator, Todd Downing. How does he go and celebrate it? He was arrested for DUI and speeding last night. So apparently getting back to Tennessee, he gets arrested for DUI. I don't know if he was celebrating on the plane or he went out afterwards, but after having, I think, a fantastic game calling offensive game.
He made a lot of good decisions during the game last night. He made some bad ones after.
Yep. Posted bond at nearly 7 a.m. As somebody said, not a great way to celebrate a big win in Green Bay.
Nope.
Wow. And you could tell, like, if you're watching the game too, there was that guy was jacked up on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was like, but, oh boy. Yikes. Yeah, I think he was celebrating on the plane and probably went out a little bit afterwards.
Probably.
And that, but man alive. Dude, what are you doing? Come on. You're not cream of the crop.
No.
You're not cream of the crop.
No.
All right, we'll take a break, and then we will do some cream. Actually, yeah, we'll do cream of the crop and shootout. How about that?
Yeah.
Change it up a little bit. It's the best holiday ever, brought to you by the radio stations here at Midwest Family Eau Claire. We're giving you tons of ways to have the best holiday ever, from Christmas music streams and local events to contests and ways you can help give others a great holiday. If you go to our website, sportstalk1051.com, you can see the banner, click on the link, or just go to aroundthe715.com. You can enter to win half hog and a chest freezer, local gift cards, nominate someone who needs a Christmas tree. Got Country Jam tickets, Rockfest tickets, Taylor Swift tickets up there. Thanks to our sponsors, Shook Family Dental, Savita, TF Exteriors, EC Moving and Storage, and Hy-Vee. I'm purposely not looking at you right now.
How'd you guys land Taylor Swift tickets?
Well, you got
that seems to be
yeah. Ticketmaster.
Ticketmaster, yeah,
the weekend.
They're letting everybody down.
Yep. So go to around715.com and get your chance when she's at U.S. Bank Stadium in June. Shake it off. That's the only thing I know. All right, let's do cream of the crop first. I love that. All right, what's your pick for cream of the crop for this week?
Obviously, it's a few days old, but for me this week, there's only one answer, and it's Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, that was a pretty sick catch. Yeah.
Well, and just the game in general. Like, I mean, you could probably give that to him a lot of weeks, but I feel like this week is going to be the week to do it.
Mm-hmm. I'm going a different route. I'm going to the hockey world, man. I'm going to the NHL. The Devils are on an 11-game winning streak right now.
Ooh.
The New Jersey Devils, 11-game winning streak, 14-3 overall. So I'm giving them the cream of the crop right now, because that's a fantastic run that they're on right now. My Kraken, though, they're 9-5.
Hanging out.
They're hanging out. So
that's right. My Penguins got a win over the Wild last night.
Yep. Hey. We're in the same cause, man.
We do. We need a road trip to Seattle to see a Penguins Kraken game. Just a road trip, just a hop, skip, and a jump.
Just to go to Seattle, just to see a Kraken game. We could investigate some Bigfoots over there too. Washington, Pacific Northwest is big.
Into the Bigfoot.
A lot of Bigfoot per capita over there.
Sightings?
Yes.
Oh, there's a lot of tall trees.
All right, you ready for a little shootout now?
I think so.
A little shootout here. We're going to do a Thanksgiving edition of Shootout because, well, we're not here for Thanksgiving next week. In fact, programming note, we won't have a program on Monday because I'll still be in the woods. I'm actually going to take a Monday of deer season off for once, for the first time in over 10 years. Thank you, Green Bay, for scheduling it or having a game on a Thursday.
They need to do this every year.
And they do.
Like this exact schedule of a Thursday before and then Sunday night.
Mm-hmm. So we'll be back on Tuesday for a Tuesday, Wednesday show, then no show Thursday or Friday. So Shootout Thanksgiving edition. You're not a turkey fan, though, right?
I like turkey, but
we did a turkey ham thing. So...
Yeah, I prefer ham.
Okay, but do you still have turkey for Thanksgiving?
I do.
Okay,
it works out well. I have two Thanksgivings, so I have turkey at one, and I actually, my dad makes a chicken.
Okay,
like a stuffed chicken.
Okay, not the turducken.
Not the turducken.
I want to try a turducken one of these days. I do want to try a turducken. I don't know if anybody who makes one.
Yeah,
but because they're. Speaking of that, they're doing some John Madden stuff.
Like I think so.
Logos on the field of him and for Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
honoring him in that.
I think they mentioned that. Yeah, these games will be very much.
They need to finally make the All-Pro teams just all Madden teams. Just
I think that's a great idea.
Just do it.
Yeah.
All right. So shootout. Are you a white or dark meat type of guy?
White meat.
I'm a white meat too. Are you a stuffing or no stuffing?
Stuffing.
All right. I'm a stuffing guy too. Gravy on the potatoes or no, guy? No.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you put a little gravy on
I'll even put some of that gravy. I'm putting that gravy on that stuffing too.
I'm putting it
on everything.
That's what I like. I'm putting the turkey and the potatoes and the stuffing, and then you top it off with the gravy.
There you go.
Like there. So, pumpkin pie or other pie? And you fill in the blank for the other.
I'm going to go pumpkin, but especially if you got the whipped topping, whatever that may be.
Whipped cream.
Yes.
Whipped cream.
Or Cool Whip.
Cool Whip. Always confuses me because I get it confused sometimes with the name with Miracle Whip.
No. That's not. No. We're not putting that on there.
No, but that's like I always have to like. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Cranberry guy or no cranberry guy?
I like cranberries, but it's not a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, I'm about the same.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I like them.
You know, it's one of those, like, if I got room.
Does it have to be shaped in the form of a can?
Yes. Otherwise, it's not real.
It's fun. Yeah, well, to me, it's funny because like I've never I don't think in any other like food thought about like how the shape of a food matters,
Yeah. Yeah,
but it does for cranberries.
it does. Okay. Is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles the only Thanksgiving movie? Like, I was thinking about this the other day.
Hmm.
Because, you know, we talk about all these Christmas movies, right?
Yeah,
But is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles the only Thanksgiving movie?
maybe.
That's, like, actually worth mentioning?
Yeah, maybe.
So I Googled it just now, just to try to. I mean, there's some ones on here like, okay, yeah, The Blind Side has Thanksgiving in it.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
like
consider that.
you know the purpose of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles
Mhm.
revolves around Thanksgiving.
I know Rocky, they got Thanksgiving because, you know, they're in there too, but I don't know if I would consider Grumpy Old Men. It's
Yeah, but no, I don't think I would.
Son-in-Law.
Buddy,
But other than that, I mean, that's like the only one, I think, right?
I think you're right.
Which is kind of disheartening.
We need to make a Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah. And maybe they just don't because they know people are like sitting around watching football all day. Maybe, I don't know, but I mean, now
maybe the NFL is just Thanksgiving movie.
but now the NFL's on Christmas too. They're taking over.
They're
Christmas.
everywhere.
So I was thinking about that the other day, and I was going to ask you. I'm like, is that the only
I think you're right.
like legit Thanksgiving movie where there's no debate?
I think you're right.
Huh? Hollywood, you have an opening here. Get it done. Make something happen here.
Figure it out.
You know, do something like streaming wise or something. But yeah, I don't count Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, by the way. I don't count the Charlie Brown movies. They got okay. So this website has You've Got Mail listed as number 2, Tower Heist as number 3. That's when you know this is not a very good list. But yeah, okay. So I can't even ask Planes, Trains, and Automobiles or other movie for Thanksgiving.
No,
'cause that's
just it.
That's just it, right? So, what else for Thanksgiving can we put in shootout here?
What about like the time of day you eat? Are you like a noon? Are you like a noon,
A noon or an evening?
Yeah.
I'm a lupper.
Well, I don't know if I can answer this because I do both.
Yeah.
But like I would say you would probably defer more towards noon.
I do because it depends if I'm going hunting or not too.
Yeah.
So if I'm heading to the woods, then it's more of like the noon, 1 o'clock sort of thing. So yeah.
So you got your big plate to watch the Lions?
No, I ain't watching the Lions. No.
They've always got the early game.
I know, but I mean that's not appointment viewing. Okay, here's one: Lions and Bills or Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I'm gonna go Lions. It's gotta be football.
Yeah.
Like,
do you have any traditions you used to do as a kid on Thanksgiving?
On Thanksgiving, not. I mean, besides eat, not really.
Yeah. We used to, when I was a kid, I would always we'd have like our Super Bowl on PS1.
Nice.
We'd always play a PS1 Super Bowl on there. Don't do that anymore, but
No.
that was always a tradition. We'd always do that and like set it up, and it got pretty intense at times. You know, people wouldn't want to talk afterwards for a little bit. I never, you know, a lot of people do like go outside and play football.
Yeah.
I never really did that.
I didn't either because I don't think they're, you know,
didn't have a big enough group, I think
Correct.
was our big one.
Like because I would like go out, maybe run around myself, but then like the second that, you know, that first game started, I was watching the game.
Yeah.
You know, like especially because like, you know, man, when we were kids, like, hey, that's a chance to watch Barry Sanders. Like you're
true.
not bypassing that opportunity.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, in the afternoon you have the Cowboys, who at that point were, you know, just, you know, the top team in the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I
Appointment
didn't
viewing
think
for
about
both.
the Barry Sanders part of it. So, all right. Okay, so I've got from Rotten Tomatoes,
Okay.
the list of Thanksgiving movies, the top rated ones. Are you ready for this? Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is not number 1. It's number 5. So number 1 is Charlie Brown. Thanksgiving. We're taking Charlie Brown off all these because he's got one for every holiday. So he doesn't count. Miracle on 34th Street's number 2. I guess I consider that more of a Christmas. But yeah, that's number 2. Number 3 is I've never heard of this. Krisha. Tensions rise at a Thanksgiving gathering when a troubled woman reunites with extended family that she abandoned. I've never heard of that movie.
No, but at least it does sound like it's a Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah. The 2019 version of Little Women. So I've seen the old one. I haven't seen the new one. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The Humans. Never heard of it. Hannah and Her Sisters. Never heard of it. Scent of a Woman. I've heard of it, never watched it, so I can't tell you. The Ice Storm. Never heard of it. Avalon. Never heard of it. Just I've never heard of a lot of them.
Like you said, though, Hollywood, you have an opportunity here.
Number 14, though, Addams Family Values. And then You've Got Mail is on there. Then The Blind Side's on there. So Grumpy Old Men's on here at 22. Some movie, Alice's Restaurant, is 23. I've never heard of like half these. So, all right. Quick edition of Thanksgiving Shootout. So what are your power rankings, though? So, like, if you had your top 3 choices on a plate, you can only put 3.
Ooh.
You can only put 3 on there. What are you going with?
Stuffing's number 1. I am team stuffing all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Stuffing, mashed potatoes, and then your meat, be it ham or turkey or chicken or whatever. I'm not gonna be too picky with any of those options.
I'm gonna go stuffing, turkey, and gravy.
Oh, I didn't know gravy was its own separate thing.
Oh, dude.
I just thought gravy was it's like saying salt or pepper. Like,
no, it's not.
Would you eat gravy by itself?
Yes. 100% I would. Is that a question?
So is gravy a food or a beverage?
Or is it a soup?
Or is it a soup? Or is it a sandwich?
I would absolutely eat gravy with just a spoon. Yes, because you can put salt and pepper in the gravy. So it's not salt and pepper. You can put it in there to add a little bit more flavor. It's like the, what would you call it? It's almost like a garnish. Put a little bit on top, and when we put a little bit on top, you just plaster that thing on the top. I mean, you put it on everything. So, do you want to change yours now?
Nope.
Okay. You're all dried up. You got some dry meat, you got some dry potatoes, you got some dry stuffing.
I'm not giving any of those things up for gravy, though.
How dare you? How dare you, sir? Are you a chicken gravy or a beef gravy?
Don't matter to me.
Okay.
Besides, I could throw some butter on that.
You can, but I mean, it's gravy.
Butter is not a beverage.
Well, depends on how some people actually. Yeah.
Depends on how you apply it, I guess. But.
Yeah. Some people actually apply it as a food too. Just like sit there and eat it. But you know it. People do it.
No, but I'm just thinking because when I was younger, I had a friend that we joked about that he ate butter.
My kid will eat butter off the butter knife and fork. Just sit there.
That's a little bit different than eating it like it's a banana.
Is that what your friend did?
No, but that's what we joked about.
See, now I'm just imagining Kramer from Seinfeld, like sauteing.
Well, that's what I mean. Like
butter.
It's a little bit different. Like, yeah, if you're eating it off like the fork, the knife, that's one thing. But if you're like I said, if you're just peeling an old Land O'Lakes, long boy, and then just gobbling it down, like I said, like it's a banana, like it's a Chiquita. Well, then no.
Oh my goodness. Oh, your mom's chiming in here. She's calling you out on something.
Oh, what's that?
I don't know if she's calling you out. She said, tell Brandon this, so I got to bring it up.
Oh, boy. This could be anything.
Brandon's mom here. Tell Brandon he may get ham now.
All right.
And Packers are now dead.
Oh. That's fine by me.
All right, you might get ham now.
That's fine.
Not really any different parts from my ham. No, save the neck for me, Clark. All right, we'll take a break and wrap up this whatever we're doing.
We're trying.
Covering the bases after these words. There you go. I forgot how long the intro was to that thing.
That's when I seen it there. I was hoping you were going to cut out and be like, Dan Kasper Show on Sports Talk.
Ooh, look at you. You're a marketing guy. I have to remember that one a little bit later on. Nice pull. Nice pull, man. I like it. All right. Well, best of luck to anybody who's heading out to the woods. Be safe. Don't forget to send us your pics if you have any luck out there too. So, but yeah, be safe, have fun, and it's gonna be cold tomorrow. So
It is.
stay warm. Be warm. Maybe bring some extra hand warmers just in case. So, all right, Brandon. So let's wrap up this program of ours. 9 minutes left. Bucks are in action tonight against Philadelphia. Again, 6:30 coverage will begin at about 6 p.m. here on the radio dials, 105.1 FM.
Listen here from your camp.
That exactly. Don't have to worry about football this weekend unless you are a Minnesota fan. Then you've got Cowboys in action there too. Badgers at Nebraska,
11 a.m.
11 a.m. tomorrow. So got all that good stuff out there. I did want to ask you a little bit baseball before I let you go here.
Yeah.
So, because you mentioned today's arbitration.
Yeah. Today's the deadline. If teams are going to offer players arbitration,
Okay.
this is the day you got to do it. And the Brewers have a bunch of arbitration eligible players.
So we'll probably be hearing like the Burns and Woodruff.
Yeah,
and
I mean some of those are easy. Like,
Right.
but like guys like a Brent Suter or Miguel Gustave or just a bunch of guys that, and if you don't offer them arbitration, then they just become a free agent.
Yep.
So, and that there's going to be some questions. You always hear about non-tender time when teams kind of you have to balance whether you think what they can get in arbitration is going to be worth it, because your arbitration number never goes down; it goes up. You have like 3 years, maybe 4 if you acquire Super 2 status. But so this is a really interesting day because I mean, there's guys that you're going to see. You kind of wonder, okay, what's the future here? Well, we'll know a little bit more by the end of the day.
What was your reaction? I want to go back a few days ago when Singleton made the 40 minute, because there's a lot of little surprise with that move.
I don't think at this point I think it's I don't have too much of an opinion on it. He's a guy that former top prospect that kind of had his struggles and has kind of made his way back into the pro game. Played last year at AAA. He had a lot of home runs, drew a lot of walks, and struck out a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I am of the mindset that I do think that regardless that the Brewers need more production out of first base. be it Rowdy Tellez taking a big step forward or going elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, because to me that I don't think that necessarily signals much. But it's interesting. It is interesting. It wasn't expected. The other guys that they added, Bryce Trang and then a couple relievers, that was expected.
Right.
But I don't put too much stock in it right now.
Okay. Did you? And I'm sure you saw the report. John Morosi said yesterday that the Mariners called about Colton Wong.
Yep.
Sort of thing. I mean, we'll see. I mean,
that's because it's that's one too where generally when teams pick up options, they're not picking up an option to trade. But
Right.
given the second base market, if that money for him is pretty reasonable.
Mhm.
So maybe they saw that there was possibly some value there for a trade as opposed to just letting him go. So
Which, I mean, and maybe it's positive because the Brewers do have another option with Luis Urias.
yeah, and they
over
have Bryce Terang who could play there too. So like that's the thing. That was always the thing, kind of going back to whether or not to pick up the option. That's kind of why I thought that might not is not so much anything about Colton Wong as it was they would possibly have other options, that maybe they could go with. So we'll see.
One thing I did not realize, well, a couple things. I was reading on MLB.com the other day. They had an article. The free agent every team needs to re-sign.
Mhm.
One, I didn't realize the Marlins don't have any free agents.
Ah,
I did not realize. Like, how is that even possible? But for the Brewers, they had Jace Peterson, and they talked about what the number I didn't realize. He was seven. Is it 7 outs above average over at third base?
he played a really good defense,
Which was like 5th best in all of the majors.
Yeah, he played a really. I mean, Jace Peterson set himself up either in Milwaukee or somewhere like for a guy that's been kind of a floater.
Mhm.
That's kind of just been a utility guy bouncing around. He set himself up well to get a good contract this time.
Mhm.
Maybe it's here in Milwaukee, maybe it's somewhere else, but he's done everything you can ask to put him in that spot. But yeah, I mean it's just a matter of what do the Brewers do?
Right. I mean, he plays all the corner spots.
He can
played
play
first.
outfield in a GIF.
Yeah, third and first, and can you play second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So he really is the prototypical utility man. So, all right, but we should probably owners meetings are in a couple weeks here, so that's probably when it'll really pick up.
Yeah, and I mean the baseball offseason always just it's a slow burn anyway.
Mm-hmm. Even though they get it started right away, it's nothing really too. It's not hot and heavy like the NBA and the NFL.
Where 3 days in, pretty much everyone's signed.
Yeah, and do you think that's a lot because there is a long off season where they don't start right away? So
yeah, and I think there's a salary cap too, so you want to you want to know kind of what you got. Like no, I think it's just different.
Yeah, isn't it kind of weird? I was talking about this yesterday, but I think it was Buster Olney who said this after Verlander won his Cy Young. That when you think about sports, you think about like the NFL records are being broken, right? Passing, scoring, and all that. NBA Kareem's scoring records are going to be broken by LeBron. You're having this increase. Yet Major League Baseball, this might be the last time we see a 300-win pitcher and a 4,000 strikeout pitcher with Verlander.
Yeah,
and
it
that's the way the game's going. But
yeah, it's interesting.
But
here, the thing too, I would say with the NFL, do you think there's ever going to be anyone that breaks Emmitt Smith's rushing record?
There's more running this year, but
I don't know if there's a running back. Like you have to do it. To me, that's a little bit like that, where you have to do it over a long period of time, and I'm just not sure that either players are going to be able to hold up physically, or teams are going to give players the chance to, because running backs right now, by the time you reach 30, you're ancient in NFL years.
Yeah. Braylon Allen, because he'll be drafted when he's like 19. But you're right. I mean,
that's the one I can think of, even with the 17 games. I don't know if anyone's going to touch those top few rushing marks.
I'm just kind of yeah. I mean, even like a guy like Derrick Henry, who he's the main guy. He's only got 7,800 career rushing yards. And
at some point, I mean, you assume that a guy like that is going to kind of start to physically break down a little bit.
So here's an either or. More likely to be broken, Jerry Rice or Emmitt Smith?
Jerry Rice.
Think so?
I'm going to say so just because that's the way the game is trending.
Mm-hmm. Because Emmitt Smith, let me bring up the active, or let me bring up these. So Emmitt Smith, 18,355 is the record. Adrian Peterson, 14. He's got the fifth most, 14,918. Frank Gore has 16,000. I don't know. That's a trivia question. People would know who's the third.
The great accumulator.
Yeah. The highest they technically still have Adrian Peterson as active.
Yeah,
but the highest active player, you got to go down to Mark Ingram, who's 50 at 8,000.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think anyone's touching that.
The next one, Ezekiel Elliott, 55, 7,829. You might have a point there, man. Melvin Gordon's on this list at 79 as for like active players.
Yet he can't get consistent enough carries to help my fantasy football team in the radio league.
And then, but like Jerry Rice, though, too, man, it's just a strong, it's a big number, but he played for a long time, too. So, like, what's the next receiver to kind of do that? I thought maybe Larry Fitzgerald could have inched closer, but he ain't coming back at this point, and he's second. So, Jerry Rice is 22,895. Fitz had 17,492. That's almost, a 5,000 difference?
Yeah, that's 4 really good years.
Yeah. The highest active is Julio Jones at 16, 13,508. Deshaun Jackson, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Mike Evans.
Yeah, both of these are going to be tough, but I mean,
with the trend of the game, you know, if there was one, I want to look up a player. I know it's going to be really early to kind of. I don't know if Tyreek Hill is going to get there.
Yeah.
What about a guy like Jamar Chase?
Or Justin Jefferson.
You know, you're thinking of those younger receivers that are just racking up the yards right now.
Yeah.
But they got to do it consistently.
And that's it. That's how you do it. Like, that's.
I want to look at
greatness comes with consistency.
Yeah, Jerry Rice. I was seeing how many 1,000-yard receiving. Even his 2003 season, his second to last year, he had 869 yards receiving. His last year.
Raiders?
Yep. Then his last year, we split time with Seattle and Oakland, 429. Green Bay would probably take a receiver that gets 429 right now. So, all right, we're gonna get cut off with shot clock. Shotgun starts.
Shotguns are tomorrow.
Yeah, that too. But best of luck to everybody heading out to the woods. Be safe. Don't forget to send those pictures on over if you have any luck. All right.
Do it.
DP and the Danettes, they're up next. We'll talk to you again. We won't be here Monday. We'll talk to you again on Tuesday. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.